Chapter 1002. At this moment, the air became stagnant. Everybody felt as if they had sunk into a swamp. Even if they wanted to move, they couldn't. Everybody gawked, dropping their jaws as they looked at Hades' era hovering in the sky. They had never felt so surprised before. Yu's pitch-black eyes were filled with astonishment. Was that the Hades era she knew? Hua hid behind Yu, looking at Hades' era hovering in the sky in his scarlet armor. His triflower snake eyes were filled with light. Luo Ji covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes filled with love. Wow, nether divine armor. Hades' big brother is so handsome. At this moment, Hades' era, who was wearing scarlet armor, seemed to become the focus of the entire world. Even the immortal flame not far from him became dim under his radiance. Jin Jiao held the metal fan with one hand, his eyes filled with excitement as he gazed at Hades' era in the sky. I hate it when people talk about my father, Hades' era said casually. After wearing the nether divine armor, Hades' era gave people an earth-shaking feeling. At this moment, Hades' era looked like the big boss of the netherworld. Finally wearing the nether divine armor. That's more like it. Jin Jiao grinned. That's how the lord of the netherworld should be. Holding the corpse ghost soul-sealing fan, Jin Jiao's eyes widened. A moment later, his shoulders shook and the fan enlarged. Both of his hands held the metal fan, waving it toward Hades' era. However, a moment later, Jin Jiao's eyes shrank. The cold, deathly wind didn't appear. He didn't wave the fan. No one knew when Hades' era had appeared in front of Jin Jiao. He raised his scarlet armor-covered arm, grabbing the handle of the metal fan. No matter how much strength Jin Jiao exerted, he couldn't swing it anymore. After putting on the nether god armor, Hades' era's eyes changed. They became slender, noble, and cold. Jin Jiao and Hades stared at each other, their gazes colliding in the void. Hades' era raised his other hand and flicked his finger. Even his finger was wrapped in the underworld divine armor. This finger flicked Jin Jiao's forehead. Boom! Jin Jiao's entire body was blasted away. It flew off into the distance. Sonic booms resounded in the air. Boom! There was a loud noise. The edge of the Lotus world suddenly exploded and collapsed. Hades' era floated in the air. His head was wrapped in armor, and his eyes were indifferent. One strike, Jin Jiao was defeated. But this was far from over. The world of lotus flowers was shattered by the impact, turning into fragments. Jin Jiao's figure emerged, standing on a piece of broken land. He lifted his head, gazing at Hades' era. His forehead was swollen, and blood slowly dripped. Finally, Jin Jiao was wounded. So strong, but so cool. Jin Jiao grinned. Both of his hands held the metal fan, swinging it. Boom! The gale brought death and coldness, blowing again. The wind rolled, turning into a tornado. The broken land was swept away. Eventually, it turned into a ferocious stone dragon. Hades' era hovered in the air. He crossed his arms, looking at the tornado indifferently. In the face of the huge tornado that was blowing towards him, his body did not move at all. Even the roaring stone dragon couldn't affect him. Facing the stone dragon, Hades' era was still elegant and noble. The pair of metal wings on its back flapped, and it shot forward. Boom! 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 The wings on his back seemed to turn into sharp blades, slashing at the stone dragon. The speed of his blades was so fast that people couldn't keep up with him. The stone dragon shattered one after another. Even the tornado was blown away. Jin Jiao grinned crazily. However, right after that, his wild laughter stopped, because Hades' era's scarlet body had appeared in front of him. Is it funny? Hades' era said casually. Then, he turned his hand to slap. Boom! It hit Jin Jiao's face. Jin Jiao's eyes shrank. His entire face seemed to be deformed. His body flew sideways, shooting away in a blink of an eye. Boom! 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 The ground shattered unceasingly. Jin Jiao fell, creating a pit several hundred meters in diameter. Didn't you want to fight? Come on. Like teleporting, Hades' era appeared above Jin Jiao, who had just climbed out of the pit. His foot gently tapped. As soon as Jin Jiao's head popped out, he was stomped one more time. The entire ground exploded again. Boom! A loud explosion echoed. Jin Jiao was sent flying from the ground, hovering in the air. Hades was facing him. Jin Jiao's pupils shrank. Boom! 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 Invisible attacks blasted out, like punches pounding on Jin Jiao's body. Jin Jiao's body twisted unceasingly. The black armor on his body seemed to be dented. Didn't you want to fight? Fight back. Hades' slender eyes were filled with brutality. Jin Jiao couldn't resist at all from a distance. Luo Ji dropped her jaw, gawking. Yu and Hua were also dumbstruck. This one-sided slaughter. What's going on? Boom. Jin Jiao's body stopped shaking. His head was grabbed by Hades' era. Boom. Hades' era wasn't polite, using his head to hit Jin Jiao's head. Jin Jiao's head seemed to explode. Blood oozed from his mouth and nose. He had never been so distressed before. His face was distorted, and his armor was dented. Swish! Jin Jiao fell on the ground, his chest heaving as he panted. On the Netherworld ship, Nethery let out a long sigh. No matter what, Hades' era was Hades' era. The corners of her mouth rose. Even prison overlord Jin Jiao couldn't do anything to him. Swish! Gravel slowly rolled. Jin Jiao's strange eyes gazed at Hades' era. He crawled up from the ground, spitting blood. Then he laughed. Sir Hades, the game is over. What? Hades' era was bewildered. A moment later, he felt a terrifying gust of wind behind him. Swish! The illusionary void was slashed into pieces. Boom! Hades' era was smashed into the ground from a void. Big brother Hades, you're so handsome. So handsome that Luo Ji didn't dare to attack you. However, Sir Inglong said that he had to bring you back. So, Luo Ji can't be polite. You have to believe that Luo Ji still loves you. In the void, the voluptuous Luo Ji emerged, carrying the death god's scythe. Her red lips glowed. The wounds on Jin Jiao's body were healing at a speed that naked eyes could observe. Slowly, Jin Jiao soared into the sky, standing next to Luo Ji. The ruins tumbled. Hades' era stood proudly, indifferently watching the two of them. Women can't be trusted. Hades' era said. Of course, what Bufang wanted to cook this time wasn't stinky tofu. Tong Ruo had prepared tofu that could glow. At first glance, one could tell that it was made of unusual ingredients. The immortal energy it contained was so thick that it could suffocate people. This tofu is made of immortal ingredients. Too perfect. Gongshu Ban craned his neck, leaning against the tofu to take a deep breath. The aroma diffusing from the tofu entered Gongshu Ban's nose, making him shiver. He couldn't help but feel refreshed. His mind calmed down. Gongshu Ban's spirit sea surged. A moment later, his mental energy surged, covering the golden flame on the stove. He tried to control the golden lotus demonic flame. To cook, of course, he had to control the golden lotus demonic flame well. However, to his surprise, the golden lotus demonic flame, which he thought would be violent, was unexpectedly obedient. Under his control, it was like his own arm. His eyes brightened. Gongshu Ban's mind flickered, and a purple kitchen knife appeared in his hand. This purple kitchen knife had so many cracks. When he had used it to block the immortal energy with an owner, it had broken. The kitchen knife spun, twirling. Gongshu Ban calmed down. He held the knife's head with one hand and the handle with the other. Bending down, the knife gently cut. He cut the tofu on the side of the stove. Swish, swish, swish. The kitchen knife spun in his hand. Shortly after, tofu dregs scattered. The kitchen knife gently patted the tofu. Instantly, the soft tofu shivered, and the dregs began to fall. Eventually, a tofu sculpture of a jade woman holding a lotus appeared. This jade woman holding a lotus was so vivid, as though she was about to come to life. Her hair fluttered, her veil fluttered, and the spinning lotus, it was too beautiful to behold. Outside the flame, Xin Yuan Xiaohui took in a breath of cold air. This carving skill is simply superb. My brother's innate talent is absolutely invincible. Gong Shu Yun proudly lifted her chin, her eyes showing her admiration. Every time she saw her brother cook, she would be amazed. Carefully holding the Jade Woman tofu sculpture, she placed it into the wok. It began to steam. On the other side, Gong Shu Ban began to prepare the other ingredients. Tap, 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 the kitchen knife moved as fast as lightning. In just a while, all the ingredients were processed. He took out another wok. The golden lotus demonic flame drilled into the bottom of the wok, burning fiercely. Gong Shu Ban had many immortal tools. Of course, this wok was one of them. However, under the burning immortal flame, the wok quickly heated up. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Then, he poured oil into the wok. The ingredients were also swept into the wok. An immortal tool, spatula, spun in his hand, then began to stir-fry. His movements were as smooth as flowing water. Tong Ruo nodded in satisfaction, his charming face filled with a strange look. All of a sudden, Tong Ruo's eyes narrowed. He turned to look at Bu Feng's side. Buzz, the gold dragon bone kitchen knife, fell into Bu Feng's hand. A dragon roar arose, making people feel a little dazed. Bu Feng's mind flickered, and the immortal flame entered the black turtle constellation wok. Boom! The flame shot up into the sky, and the black turtle constellation wok instantly heated up. Worthy of being an immortal flame, Bu Feng's eyes brightened. Compared to the heaven and earth obsidian flame, the immortal flame's power had increased by more than one level. If he used the heaven and earth obsidian flame, it would take a long time to heat the wok. Different from Gong Shu Ban, Bu Feng didn't carefully cut the tofu. The dragon bone kitchen knife slashed, and the meteor knife skill burst out. The tofu turned into tofu cubes. The soft tofu fell, bouncing as though it was elastic. Bu Feng took out the exploding flame pepper from the heaven and earth farmland. He had specially prepared them. After stir-frying the pepper in the black turtle constellation wok, he took out the wok and prepared to use it. Then he took out the purple garlic, crushing it. Many other ingredients were taken out. What did Bu Feng want to do? Tong Ruo slightly narrowed his eyes. In the Heaven Chief realm, tofu cooking was exquisite. Since tofu was soft and tender, after being cooked, it would be shocking. Moreover, it would retain that soft and tender texture. Not many people would cut tofu into cubes to cook. This method didn't have any beauty, and during the cooking process, it would turn the tofu into dregs that would affect the tofu's texture. Bu Feng's cooking method had violated the taboo of tofu cooking. Of course, Xinyuan Xiaohui and Gong Shu Yun also saw Bu Feng's cooking. This strange method made them slightly bewildered. This kind of messy cooking. I don't know how this kid became the Heaven Chief. Asking my brother to compete with this kind of person is an insult to my brother. Gong Shu Yun pouted her lips, speaking disdainfully. Xinyuan Xiaohui furrowed her brows. No, Owner Bu isn't an ordinary chef. His dishes always surprise people. You're praising others, but not my brother. Gong Shu Yun turned her head and snorted, glaring at Xinyuan Xiaohui. Xinyuan Xiaohui felt embarrassed. Look, young Master Gong Shu is about to finish. Xinyuan Xiaohui hurried to point at the flame curtain to divert Gong Shu Yun's attention. Inside the flame, Gong Shu Ban lifted the lid of the steamer. Steam rose. Amidst the haze, the light was dazzling and dazzling. A tofu sculpture was holding a lotus flower, looking like a fairy walking out of paradise. Swish! However, Gong Shu Ban wasn't attracted by the beauty of the tofu sculpture. The golden light flickered, and a ladle of hot oil was poured. Sizzle! Hot steam rose up from the ground. Boom! Boom! Above the world of lotuses, dark clouds rolled from one side, and the other side also had dark clouds pressing down. Xinyuan Xiaohui and Gong Shu Yun lifted their heads, gazing at the void. Both of their pupils constricted. Two clusters of dark clouds. Both of them want to trigger the lightning punishment. Chapter 1003. Lightning Punishment. Rumble. A deafening sound resounded in everyone's ears, instantly resounding through the void and tearing apart the light curtain in the sky. That dazzling light curtain was so dazzling that it looked like two lightning dragons were moving inside it. Layers of dark clouds rolled, sweeping from both sides. Then they collided in the sky. Buzz, the golden lotus demonic flame glowed with dazzling gold light. It swayed as if it was shivering under the pressure of the heavenly might. The enchanting Tong Ruo lifted his head. His eyes seemed to pierce through the flame, looking at the lightning punishment in the sky. Lightning punishment, an immortal dish's lightning punishment. It's so nostalgic. Tong Ruo stuck out his tongue, licking his lips. His eyes sparkled with excitement. Now, let's see if this lightning punishment can meet my expectation. Boom! Lightning exploded in the sky. Gongshu Ban wasn't moved. He focused on the dish in front of him. His dish was about to reach the last step. Light emitted from the tofu jade statue that looked like an immortal. That jade statue seemed to be alive. Every frown or smile could attract people's eyes. The silk dress that the tofu jade statue was wearing seemed to be blown by the wind, fluttering invisibly. Because of the hot oil, the tofu jade statue emitted a misty white mist. Therefore, the entire tofu sculpture emitted a misty white gas. As the white gas rose, the tofu sculpture became more and more lifelike. Of course, more importantly, the tofu statue had immortal energy twirling around it. Because of the hot oil, the immortal energy was pressed down, twirling around the tofu statue's feet. It made the jade statue look like it was treading on immortal energy, becoming more ethereal. Outside the flame, Xianyuan Xiaohui and Gongshu Yun were dumbstruck. Cooking was like an art, which made people yearn for it. Young Master Gongshu's cooking skills are beyond my knowledge, worthy of being the Gongshu family's pride of heaven. Xianyuan Xiaohui sighed inwardly. It was okay if they didn't compare. If they did, the gap between him and Gongshu Ban was too big. Originally, he thought that his cooking talent was amazing. However, he didn't expect there to be so many monsters in the Heaven Chief. No matter if it was Gongshu Ban, Tong Chung of the Tong family, the monstrous genius of the Zhang family, or even Honorbu, they were all amazing. Thinking of Bu Fong, Xianyuan Xiaohui's gaze subconsciously shifted to Bu Fong's position. His pupils involuntarily constricted at the sight. This boom, boom, boom. The black turtle constellation wok was spinning. The wok's spatula collided with the wok, emitting a thunderous sound. Within the wok, a golden flame soared into the sky, completely shocking everyone's vision. The dish seemed to be wrapped in flames. If Gongshu Ban's dishes were tranquil with immortal energy, then Bu Fong's dishes were moving with fire. Two completely different styles of dishes actually collided at this moment. Tong Ruo was a half-step Qilin chef, so of course, he could see the mysteries of their dishes. His eyes were so excited that they were about to pop out. Youngsters nowadays are all so strong. It was too perfect. This kind of dish will trigger a lightning punishment, and it won't be weak. Boom! As soon as he said that, thunder boomed in the sky. The clouds seemed to be shattered by the explosion. There was no lightning protection formation in this area. Thus, if Bu Fong and Gongshu Ban wanted to resist the lightning punishment, they could only rely on themselves. However, Gongshu Ban and Bu Fong didn't care about the lightning punishment in the sky. At this moment, they only had their dishes in their eyes. Buzz Xiao Bai's mechanical eyes shot out radiance, appearing behind Bu Fong. The metal wings spread, and the clanging sounds echoed unceasingly, as if it was going to deafen people. Xiao Bai lifted his head, looking at the lightning punishment. The lightning punishment that people couldn't wait to avoid had become something he desired. The desire in his eyes made people feel strange. Boom! Xiao Bai's metal wings flapped, and he soared up into the sky, aiming at the lightning punishment. It's here again. Honorbu's Earth immortal puppet that can eat lightning punishment. Xianyuan Xiaohui exclaimed in surprise when he saw Xiao Bai. Every time Xiao Bai appeared, he would shock him. An Earth immortal puppet that could swallow lightning punishment was the dream of every heaven chief. Sizzle, sizzle. The thunder dragon roared and descended, coiling around Xiao Bai's body. Xiao Bai roared unceasingly, and a vortex emerged in his stomach. He pulled out the war god stick, which was twirling with lightning, and pounded on the lightning punishment in the sky. It was as if the stick had hit something solid. The thunder dragon was smashed into pieces by Xiao Bai. A moment later, the war god stick coiled around it, gathering in his stomach. Gongshu Ban didn't have Xiao Bai. Therefore, his lightning bolts came crashing down rapidly. Tong Ruo looked at Xiao Bai swallow a lightning strike, and his eyes almost popped out. He had never thought that there would be an earth immortal puppet that could swallow lightning punishment in this world. Where the hell did he come from? Since the lightning punishment was swallowed, his plan was ruined. But Tong Ruo didn't care about anything else. He stepped on the void, slowly soaring up. He appeared above Gongshu Ban's head. Over there, the lightning struck straight down. After Xiao Bai had eaten a lightning strike, the aura on his body surged. Boom! He landed on the ground. Tong Ruo's eyes showed his desire. He rose his hand, making the lightning strike unceasingly on his body. Lightning punishment. It's lightning punishment. So cool. Sizzle. Sizzle. The thunder dragon wound around Tong Ruo's body. Tong Ruo didn't dodge or evade, bearing the lightning strike. His face showed that he was enjoying it. He seemed to be enjoying the baptism of lightning. Of course, Bufang and Gongshu Ban didn't pay attention to it. However, Xinyuan Xiaohui and Gongshu Yun gawked, dropping their jaws. They lifted their heads, bewilderedly looking at the figure shrouded in lightning in the void. He's receiving the baptism of lightning punishment? Xinyuan Xiaohui couldn't believe it. The Heaven Chief is receiving the baptism of lightning punishment? How could it be? Only the dishes cooked by the Heaven Chief need to receive the baptism of lightning punishment. Is he a dish? Impossible. As Gongshu Yun was the genius of the Gongshu family, of course, her knowledge was more extraordinary than Xinyuan Xiaohui's. However, even she found it hard to believe. Turning into a dish? That was King crazy. Tong Ruo laughed loudly. Feeling the comfortable feeling of lightning entering his body, he felt a little satisfied. After a long time, the lightning strikes dispersed. Tong Ruo opened his eyes, evil energy surging from him. How come it's gone? Damn it. That iron lotus earth immortal puppet swallowed one. Otherwise, I could have used 2 lightning strikes to reach my perfect body. At that time, I would have swallowed the 2 dishes that triggered the lightning punishment. My plan would have been perfect. I would have been able to become a Qilin chef. Tong Ruo roared. He was so angry that he went crazy. Below, Gongshu Ban exhaled deeply. His eyes showed his exhaustion. He took a step backward. Instantly, the realistic dish in front of him was completed. Immortal energy twirled around the tofu sculpture, making it look like a jade statue walking out of fairyland. It was so beautiful that even her smile could attract people's minds. Immortal dish, Lotus Girl, done. Wiping his palms with a white cloth, Gongshu Ban smirked, revealing a smug smile. He took a few steps back, his face full of admiration as he looked at his own dish. This time, with the golden lotus demonic flame's help, his condition had almost reached the peak. Each step was perfect. This dish was the one he was most proud of. Half-step Qilin chef's inheritance. I must have it. Gongshu Ban's fighting spirit rose. In the distance, the light from the fire slowly dissipated. A wave of unbridled aroma arose from Bufang's position. This aroma was so thick that it didn't disperse. It lingered in the entire space. Although it was fragrant, after taking a sniff, he felt his nose go numb. The spicy and numb smell burst out instantly. The gold-like tofu bloomed with gold light, and the minced meat inside the tofu emitted an exquisite fragrance. Immortal energy hovered above the dish, constantly changing colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple. The changing colors constantly affected the atmosphere. Bufang gently exhaled. The vermilion robe on his body shook. The dragon bone kitchen knife spun in his hand, making a knife light. With a thud, it scattered. 7-colored, glazed mapo tofu. Done. Bufong's faint voice arose. Done. Gong Shuban and Bufong had finished their dishes at the same time. Xinyuan Xiaohui and Gong Shuyun's attention was immediately drawn away from Tong Ruo's dish, landing on their dishes. Gong Shuban's dish had immortal energy. Bufong's dish, 7-colored glazed mapo. Both of them were so unique. Tong Ruo also noticed that their dishes were done. His eyes brightened, and he didn't care about the lightning strike on Xiao Bai. Compared to the Earth Immortal puppet, he was more concerned about the quality of the dish and whether it could help him become a Qilin chef. Gong Shuban lifted his head, looking at Bufong's dish. 7-colored glazed mapo tofu. Gong Shuban felt strange when he heard the name of this dish. Who's mapo? Gong Shuban looked at Bufong, asking, Who's mapo? This question was really profound. Bufong was bewildered. Mapo is a legend, Bufong said, his eyes deep. Gong Shuban furrowed his brows. It sounded really powerful. His nose twitched as he sniffed the aroma in the air. This aroma was really fragrant. That aroma had a hidden numbness, which made people unable to stop eating. However, Gong Shuban was confident in his dish. Tong Ruo landed. Bufong and Gong Shuban were bewildered. At this moment, Tong Ruo gave them a strange feeling. He wasn't gentle and refined like before, but a little ruthless. It's done. Thank you for your hard work. Tong Ruo's hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were filled with excitement. His eyes first fell on Gong Shuban's lotus-picking girl, then turned to look at the mapo tofu. At first glance, he felt like he got an electric shock. This mapo tofu was interesting. Honorbu's tofu is beyond my expectation. It's fragrant, but not greasy. It's a good dish. Gong Shuban looked at Bufong, calmly praising. Bufong rolled down the sleeves of his vermilion robe. Glancing at Gong Shuban, he nodded. Just a daily dish, Arg. Come here. Let me have a taste. I'll use this dish to decide who can become my successor. Tong Ruo's eyes were filled with excitement and greed. Senior Tong, please. Gong Shuban was very confident as he gently bowed. Mwaha! Tong Ruo glared at Gong Shuban, his face ruthless. Then, he gave a creepy smile. Then, he didn't use chopsticks or a spoon. Reaching out his hand, he grabbed Gong Shuban's dish. Twisting the lotus-picking girl's head, he directly shoved it into his mouth. Gong Shuban's eyes shrank. The pores on his entire body seemed to explode as he glared at Tong Ruo. Munch! Munch! Tong Ruo chewed quickly. Lightning bolts shot out from his body, and immortal energy twirled around him. Tong Ruo swallowed the entire lotus picker's head. He didn't have any taste, and he didn't appreciate the taste. Gong Shuban's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He finally sensed something strange. It's your mapo tofu's turn. Wiping the tofu dregs on his face, Tong Ruo turned to Bufong and Bufong's mapo tofu. The fragrance made Tong Ruo's body tremble slightly. Boom! The golden lotus demonic flame burst out instantly. The temperature of the entire space became scorching. Bufong frowned, looking at Tong Ruo, who was approaching with greed. He exhaled softly. Then, the dragon bone kitchen knife emerged in his hand. His mind flickered, and a dragon roar echoed. The dragon bone kitchen knife swept horizontally, aiming at Tong Ruo. I've always hated you. You're neither a human nor a ghost. Chapter 1004. Women's Words. You can't believe them. Hades' era's slender eyes slightly opened. Slowly, he stood up from the ruins. Rubble rolled off his body. The crashing sounds echoed unceasingly. In the void, Jin Jiao stood still. His black armor, which had been shattered by the bombardment, was slowly recovering. Holding a massive metal fan, he looked at Hades' era standing below. Luo Ji's voluptuous body was vividly displayed in the void. Holding the death god's scythe, her body emitted an aura that made people's hearts palpitate. Big brother Hades, you have to believe. Luo Ji still loves you. Luo-ji held the death god's scythe, her tongue licking the blade as she giggled. On the Netherworld ship, Yu and Hua Hua were dumbstruck. With two Earth prison overlords joining hands, could Hades' era resist them? His mind flickered. Yu's pitch-black eyes turned to the other side. There, the golden flame was moving rapidly. The intensity of the fire became more terrifying, as though the entire world was about to be burned. The immortal flame seemed to become restless. Bu Fong, Nethery, furrowed her brows. What would happen to Bu Fong in the middle of the flame? He should be all right. Bu Fong would never suffer loss. Big brother Hades, Lord Inglong said that he would bring you back. You should go back with us. Fighting will hurt our friendship, Luo-ji said. She pursed her lips, her eyes filled with pink hearts as she looked at Hades' era. No need to use your charm on me. I won't fall for it. Hades' era said casually. With just the two of you, I'm not sure you can bring I back, Hades said. Oh, really? The corners of Jean Jiao's mouth rose, his eyes focused. A moment later, the black armor on his body changed again. Ferocious lines appeared on the black armor. The Hell Lord's black armor is specially designed to restrain Lord Hades' underworld divine armor. If Hades continues to be stubborn, then we won't be polite, Jean Jiao said. Restraint. There's no such thing as restraint. Back then, even the combined strength of you, 5 Hell Masters, couldn't withstand a single slap from my father. What are you being so smug about? Even if I can't compare to my father, I'm still not someone the two of you can deal with. Hades' era said. The next moment, the ground suddenly exploded. There was a deep depression and rubble rolled down. As for Hades' era, his body seemed to have turned into a cannonball as he shot out rapidly. Boom! Jean Jiao was dazed for a moment. Hades' era's punch sent him flying. Luo-ji's eyes shrank, her pink lips parting. Big brother Hades, are we in a love-hate relationship? I'm so excited. There was a tearing noise. The Grim Reaper's scythe swept across. The illusionary void seemed to shatter under this blade. Hades' era's scarlet body blurred in the illusionary void, disappearing from his spot. When he reappeared, he was right in front of Luo-ji. His elbow hit Luo-ji's hand that was wielding the Grim Reaper's scythe. Then his arm slashed horizontally, hitting Luo-ji's chest. Luo-ji's chest heaved. Her body was like a cannonball as she was pounded into the ground from the illusionary void. Boom! The ground instantly exploded. Buzz, all of a sudden, Hades' era furrowed his brows. The underworld divine armor on his body began to emit a scorching heat. Jean Jiao and Luo-ji slowly rose from the ruins. The black armor on their bodies became ferocious, and the patterns on it burst out. Those patterns were like mysterious totems, dazzling people's eyes. The patterns on the black armor released strange fluctuations. These fluctuations seemed to affect the underworld divine armor on Hades' era's body, making it hard for him to move. Since I've seen the underworld divine armor, this trip isn't in vain. Anyway, Sir Hades, the game is over. Come with us obediently. Jean Jiao smiled. Luo-ji pouted, rubbing her chest. Hades' era's palm was so painful. Big brother Hades, you're so bad. You hit my chest so hard. Hades' era took a deep breath, his slender eyes slowly emitted a cold intent. If that old fella Inglong was here, I would be a little bit afraid. But you too. Why are you acting tough in front of me? Boom! Crimson flames began to burn on Nether King Erha's body. A moment later, a scarlet magic array appeared in front of Hades' era. Terrifying fluctuations spread out from that magic array. Boom! Rumble. Jean Jiao and Luo-ji's eyes shrank. They took in a breath of cold air. Their figures dashed away. The illusionary void seemed to shake the moment the magic array appeared, as if it couldn't bear the pressure and was about to collapse. That magic array was blazing fiercely. Slowly, it revolved as if something terrifying was about to emerge from that magic array. Slowly, a crimson red metal handle appeared in the air. That metal handle had many patterns drawn on it. Those patterns were so mysterious that people couldn't help but be drawn into them. Hades' era's cold eyes looked at the magic array. He extended his hand, grabbing the metal handle. The illusionary void around the magic array collapsed. This world couldn't bear such a level of power. Impossible. How could Hades control that thing? Jin Jiao's eyes shrank. A terrifying pressure pressed down on him, making his muscles shiver. Luo Ji's white face was filled with astonishment. Her pink hair fluttered unceasingly. Turns out, Big Brother Hades is also improving. Heaven Chief World 5th layer, on top of the heaven tree at the top of the massive, umbrella-like heaven tree, there was a small, shabby wooden house. The wooden door of the wooden house was pushed open. A silhouette slowly walked out. The silhouette was tall and naked, with only a pair of underwear covering the most important part of his lower body. Outside the wooden house was a golden-haired woman with a hot body. She looked mature, full of mesmerizing charm. Hearing the sound of the wooden door being pushed open, the woman quickly turned her head and saw a perfect naked body. That man was really handsome. His golden hair seemed to have stars twirling around it, which was really mesmerizing. It was just that naked body made people feel a little weird. Realm Lord, Your Highness, you ran out without any clothes. Hurry, put on your clothes. The woman looked at the slender and well-proportioned figure, and her face blushed, making her look even more mature and enchanting. She hurriedly shouted as a robe appeared in her hand with a flash of light. She ran to the man and draped it over him. Yeah, please believe me. Only when I'm naked can I feel the pure beauty of heaven and earth, the handsome man said, his eyes misty. That's not the reason for you to be naked, the woman called Yaya said. You're the realm lord of the heaven chief world, the supreme, high Qilin chef. Please pay attention to your image, the mature woman said seriously. I want to feel the art of this world without reservation. Only then can my body and mind merge with the heaven chief world. The man opened his arms, and a wave of energy burst out from his body. The clothes that Yaya had draped over his body were instantly torn to shreds, and the underwear on his lower body was also blown apart. Buzz! A dazzling divine light shot out from the man's body. Yaya was speechless, rubbing her forehead. The realm lord was sick again. Her hand shook, and a big blue wok appeared. She swung it, and the big wok hit the handsome man's head. There was a thud. The man's body stiffened, and the light on his body vanished. Swish! Yaya waved her hand, and a gorgeous robe covered the realm lord's body. As your apprentice, I don't want to hit you with a wok. Yaya shook her head, caressing the big blue wok. Her mind flickered, and the wok was retrieved. After getting hit, the man seemed to be sober. His eyes focused, looking at the area under the heaven tree. His gaze seemed to pierce through the void. Lotus world explosions echoed in the sky. Slowly, a pair of eyes appeared. Jin Jiao and Luo Ji lifted their heads, seeing the massive eyes that seemed to come from tens of thousands of miles away. Swish! Hades' arrow roared. A moment later, the nether divine armor seemed to burn. His arm exerted force, pulling out a massive red halberd from the formation. Terrifying energy diffused from the halberd. Nether energy filled the sky. The pair of eyes in the sky was a little surprised. What are you looking at? Have you never seen someone pull out a halberd before? Nether King Air Hot jerked his head up, his slender eyes looking straight at the eye in the sky. Then he swung his halberd, and the eyes were blown away. Jin Jiao and Luo Ji's mouths twitched. If they weren't wrong, that pair of eyes should be the will of the realm lord of the heaven chief realm. That was the realm lord of a realm, an existence whose power could be compared to the old Hades. Hades' excellency was really a newborn calf that wasn't afraid of tiger. However, Luo Ji and Jin Jiao focused their eyes, looking at Hades' era holding the red halberd in the distance. Their eyes were filled with admiration. Hades' halberd, Nether King Erha's body seemed to be burning. He swung his halberd. Instantly, the illusionary void shattered unceasingly. This world couldn't endure Hades' halberd. I didn't think that. His Excellency Hades could control Hades' halberd. Seems like we can only use that method. Jin Jiao took a deep breath. Luo Ji couldn't bear it anymore. Sigh. My Hades Gidge. I'm sorry. His mind flickered. A moment later, the illusionary void was torn. Jin Jiao's hand reached into it. A massive gold gourd was taken out from it. Luo Ji copied Jin Jiao, tearing the illusionary void and taking out a black broadsword, and above their heads, the space was torn apart. An arm stretched out from it, and a pitch-black scepter emerged from it. Buzz, iron fan, gold gourd, scythe, broadsword, scepter, 5 weapons soared up into the sky, surrounding Hades' era. Sizzle, streaks of pitch-black light shot out from within. They bombarded Hades' era's body. Boom! The formation reappeared. Hades' halberd was shoved back into the formation by the light from the 5 weapons. The underworld deity armor on Hades' era's body was constantly falling off. You guys, the Nether King's eyes widened as he gritted his teeth. Boom! An explosion resounded. Hades' halberd disappeared, and the underworld deity armor scattered. Hades' era was smashed into the ground by the 5 light beams. Far from them, he was shivering on the netherworld ship. The divine weapons of the 5 great earth prison masters, Hollow Eye, Primal Chaos Gold Gourd, Death God Scythe, Corpse Ghost Soul Sealing Fan, Overbearing Broadsword, treating His Excellency Hades like that. Too much. Blue veins bulged at the corners of her eyes. He was shivering. In the air, a naked baby with a pair of white wings flapped its wings and stared at the 5 divine artifacts in the void. His line of sight returned to the top floor of the Heaven Chief world. Outside the wooden house, the golden-haired man twisted his head, grinning. TSK, TSK, TSK? He stripped them. These fellows also know the art of nudity? The first layer of the Heaven Chief world. Heaven Chief Restaurant. Lord Ghost slowly opened his eyes, sighing. The Black Dragon King, who was on high alert, shivered. He vigilantly watched Lord go. That black dog kept scaring the dragon. Didn't want to scare him to death so that it could cook sweet and sour dragon ribs. This dog has bad intentions. However, a moment later, that black dog slowly stood up. Lord Go glanced at the Black Dragon King. The dog's paw moved, and the Black Dragon King felt the world spinning in front of him. A moment later, the scene in front of him changed. Luo Ji and Jin Jiao exhaled. They exchanged looks, seeing the fear in each other's eyes. It was worthy of being the Hades halberd, the terrifying weapon that had accompanied the old Hades to the nether prison. Even with the power of the 5 divine weapons, it could barely suppress it. And it was because Hades' era wasn't familiar with it. Rumble. A pitch-black eye suddenly appeared on the pitch-black scepter. Jin Jiao Luo Ji. Don't waste time. Bring Hades back. The netherworld woman, too. If she resists, you're allowed to cripple her. An old voice rang out from the pitch-black scepter. Yes, Serene Long. Jin Jiao and Luo Ji immediately answered. However, the moment they were about to take action, a gentle and magnetic voice arose. No matter what, it's Hades. Don't go too far. Also, Stinky Dragon. Lord Go hates you the most. Go away. A moment later, the void was torn apart. A black dog strutted its cat-like steps, slowly and enchantingly walking out from within. Next to the black dog stood a bald, shivering man. The black dog waved its paw. A dog's paw condensed and slammed into the black eye, shattering it in an instant. Chapter 1005. Gongshu Ban's body shivered. He was so angry. He looked at the tofu dregs on the plate, his eyes turning red. It was a feeling of humiliation. The dish he had spent so much effort to cook was eaten. Moreover, it was eaten in such an ugly manner. Thinking about how Tong Ruo had twisted the head of the lotus-picking girl, Gongshu Ban felt like a flame was erupting from his body. However, before he could get angry, he was bewildered. That was because Bufong had gone berserk in the distance. The golden kitchen knife bloomed with dazzling light, and a dragon roar echoed unceasingly. The dragon roar shook the void. Tong Ruo's eyes only had the mapo, tofu. He didn't expect that Bufong would attack him at this moment. The kitchen knife swept horizontally at high speed. When Tong Ruo could react, The dragon bone kitchen knife had already hit his face. Thud! It wasn't the sound of someone slapping his face. Bufong had used the back of the knife to hit Tong Ruo's face, but the sound was a dull thud. More importantly, the feeling was totally different from slapping his face. What? Bufong frowned, looking at Tong Ruo. Tong Ruo turned his head. Swish! Pieces of tofu fell from Tong Ruo's face. His face, which had been smashed by Bufong, was there. You dare to hit me? Tong Ruo lifted his head, his eyes so ferocious. Half of his face was smashed by Bufong's dragon bone kitchen knife, leaving a deep dent. Pieces of tofu fell from it. You don't want my inheritance anymore. Immortal flame, immortal ingredients, immortal tools. You don't want them anymore. Tong Ruo rolled his eyes, his voice a little terrifying. As tofu dregs kept falling from his face, people's hair stood on end. At least, Xinyuan Xiaohui and Gongshu Yun, who were watching, were frightened. That fellow isn't human. Xinyuan Xiaohui sucked in a cold breath. Bufong frowned and looked at Tong Ruo. Gongshu Ban was also frightened. Was the entire person made of tofu? This Tong Ruo is crazy. Looking at the immortal energy swirling around the figure, Gongshu Ban suddenly thought of an inconceivable possibility. Are you cooking yourself like a dish? TSK, TSK, TSK. You actually saw through me. Tong Ruo laughed. I was planning to devour your dishes and your heavenly tribulations without you noticing and transform into a 10th grade immortal dish. He has successfully become a Qilin chef, Tong Ruo announced. He reached out and covered his face, which had been smashed by Bufong. The tofu on his face wriggled and slowly recovered. Tong Ruo's lips twitched as he returned to his seductive look. What? He had become a Qilin chef. That's impossible. Didn't you fail your advancement and die? Gongshu Ban said in astonishment. Yeah, I'm tofu, and I'm tofu if I fail. But I'm not willing. I'm just one step away from becoming a Qilin chef. I'm not willing to fail. So, even if I die, I want to become a Qilin chef. As long as I become a Qilin chef, I can be resurrected, Tong Ruo sneered. Your dishes' heavenly tribulations and the immortal energy in your dishes are enough to fill the immortal energy I need. So, the immortal ingredients, immortal tools, and immortal flame inheritance you mentioned are all lies. Gongshu Ban felt cold air rising from his soles. He didn't expect that what he thought was a big chance was actually a big scheme. Tong Ruo, who had turned into a dish, couldn't cook. However, the immortal energy on his body was so thick. No doubt, Tong Ruo's scheme had been going on for a long time. Many Heaven Chief must have died here. Outside, Xinyuan Xiaohui and Gongshu Yun were petrified. They didn't expect that the Golden Lotus demonic flame's existence was a big scheme. Ha ha ha. No, it's not a lie. You guys will become the Golden Lotus demonic flame's nourishment to increase its rank. At this moment, the Golden Lotus demonic flame can rank 50th on the Immortal Flame ranking. You guys will be proud of the Immortal Flame's growth. Tong Ruo laughed loudly. He stretched his arms. A moment later, the flame burned brightly. The throbbing Golden Lotus demonic flame had turned into a giant golden flaming beast that could cover the sky. The giant beast roared. Gongshu Yun and Xinyuan Xiaohui felt their vision blur. Then, the scene disappeared. Why can't I see what's inside? Brother, you can't die in there. Gongshu Yun was so worried, dashing toward the flame. However, Xinyuan Xiaohui pulled her back. That flame was an immortal flame. If Gongshu Yun got close, she would be burned into ashes. Young Master Gongshu, you're a good man. Heaven helps you. You won't die. Xinyuan Xiaohui tried to comfort her. At this moment, the flame space had a big change. The temperature rose and steamrolled. Tong Ruo clasped his hands, grinning ferociously. The space had become real. In the void, the Golden Lotus demonic flame's flame seed was slowly spinning, sending down scorching heat. In Gongshu Ban and Bufong's eyes, the Golden Lotus demonic flame's flame seed seemed to be alive. It was like a ferocious beast that was about to devour people, giving them endless danger. Buzz's immortal energy twirled around Tong Rua's body. His immortal energy was so thick that it couldn't be added. It was like a high-grade immortal dish. Heaven Chief cooked immortal dishes. Immortal dishes were also divided into levels. In the Heaven Chief realm, immortal dishes were divided into 10 levels. Level 1 to Level 3 was the Immortal Chef level. Level 4 to Level 6 was the Heaven Chief level. Level 7 to Level 9 was the Level 3 Heaven Chief level. Above Level 9 was the Level 10 Immortal Dish, which was one of the standards to become a Chilean chef. Above Level 10 was the top-grade Immortal Dish, which only Chilean chefs could cook. The dishes that Bufang and Gongshu Ban had cooked were all Level 2 Immortal Dishes. However, it was enough. Although their levels weren't high, to Tong Ruo, it was like the last straw, which had accumulated the immortal energy in his body to the Level 10 Immortal Dish. He wanted to find another way to become an immortal dish and become a Chilean chef. Needless to say, it was a bold idea. Buzz, the golden flaming lotus slowly descended, shrouding Gongshu Ban. Under the flaming lotus, tendrils extended. Gongshu Ban's face was filled with fear. He didn't want to die. Moreover, he wanted to die in such an ugly way, becoming the fuel for a flame. Now, it's your dish's turn. Tong Ruo grinned, looking at Bufang. It seemed he didn't mind Bufang's knife attack. In his eyes, there was only the mapo tofu. As long as he ate the mapo tofu, the immortal energy in his body would be accumulated, and he would become a Level 10 immortal dish. Then, he would become a Chilean chef. Bufang looked at him indifferently. He reached out his hand, picking up the blue and white porcelain plate with the mapo tofu. "Did I say that I would give it to you?" Bufang said, his face emotionless. Tong Ruo was bewildered. In the distance, Gongshu Ban was also bewildered. A moment later, Gongshu Ban seemed to remember something. His eyes widened as he shouted, "Owner Bu, don't give it to him. If he eats it, he will accumulate immortal energy and become a Chilean chef." Bufang looked at Gongshu Ban, who was standing in the distance. "You don't need to tell me that. Don't give it to me. This is my spirit sea. I'm the god. No one can resist me." Tong Ruo sneered. Buzz Xiaobai's body emitted lightning. Light flashed in his eyes. His metal wings spread. In just a blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Tong Ruo. Tong Ruo had murderous intent toward Bufang. Thus, Xiaobai had to take action. "Your Earth Immortal puppet is really strange. Stay with me. You will witness my glory." Tong Ruo stared at Xiaobai, grinning. Xiaobai's mechanical eyes twinkled. Boom! A moment later, his stomach spun. The war god's stick glowed like a soldering iron, with lightning dancing on it. Then, it swept over Tong Ruo. "Really, naughty," Tong Ruo sneered coldly. Then, the three-colored yellow mystery walk flew out, hovering above Xiaobai's head. Cyan, yellow, and red energies descended, sealing Xiaobai. No matter how hard Xiaobai used the war god's stick to attack, he couldn't break the three-colored energy seal. A kitchen knife, sparkling with starlight, slashed at Bufang. The star kitchen knife was so fast. In just a blink of an eye, it appeared in front of Bufang. It aimed at Bufang's glabella. Buzz, a cracking sound echoed. An earthy yellow halo twinkled on Bufang's body. The invincibility of the vermilion robe was broken. Bufang rose his hand, grabbing the star knife. His eyes gazed at Tong Ruo in the distance. He's not dead." Tong Ruo was a little surprised. What was that shattering sound? However, he didn't think much. Even if Bufang could resist the star knife, could he resist the golden lotus demonic flame? His mind flickered. The golden lotus demonic flame instantly moved away from Gongshu Ban's head. In just a blink of an eye, it reappeared above Bufang's head. Tentacles fell down one after another, sizzle. The tentacles wrapped around Bufang's arm, and the vermilion robe seemed to be burning. Bufang furrowed his brows. In the distance, Gongshu Ban was sweating profusely. Just a little bit more, and he would have been burned to death. "Owner Bu." However, he knew that he would die eventually. Tong Ruo was a half-step Chilean chef, and his cultivation base was really strong. He wasn't someone they could resist. Die first or die later. He had to die anyway. Bu Fong turned his head to look at the vermilion robe, which was still hissing as the tentacles wrapped around it. It's the god of cooking Set. Could it be burned? I'm the one who eats flames. Since when did the flame eat me? Bu Fong lifted his head, looking at the golden lotus demonic flame's flame seed, his face emotionless. In the distance, Gong Shu Ban was a little bewildered. Bu Fong's words were a little too arrogant. Tong Ruo laughed as if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. Eat fire? Do you know how high the temperature of an immortal flame is? Eat. Ha ha ha. Before you can eat it, your mouth would have turned into ashes. Tong Ruo shook his head, sneering. Sizzle, the vermilion robe burned. Under the golden lotus, demonic flames burning, flames diffused. A wave of scorching heat rose from Bu Fong's body. The god of cooking Set. Will it disappoint me? Bu Fong frowned. A moment later, his spirit sea surged with high waves. The gold divine dragon and the black tortoise, who carried the mountain peak on its back, looked pensive. A loud cry echoed in Bu Fong's spirit sea. A moment later, Bu Fong's vision turned into a sea of fire. The flames surged. Bu Fong's spirit sea boiled, rumble. Deep in his spirit sea, a massive vermilion bird flapped its wings, raising waves unceasingly. A starlight screeched as it flew from a distance, falling into the vermilion bird's mouth. Outside, Bu Fong's hair fluttered unceasingly. On his body, the vermilion robe bloomed with scarlet radiance. At the same time, a pair of crimson wings spread out behind him. Flaming feathers fluttered, fluttering. Bu Fong held the mapo tofu in one hand as he soared into the sky. The star saber in his hand crumbled. Step by step, Bu Fong quickly arrived in front of the revolving golden lotus. The sudden turn of events caused Tong Ruo's laughter to stop abruptly. Gong Shu Ban dropped his jaw, gawking at the scene. What did Bu Fong want to do? Could it be? It's been a long time since I tasted fire. I hope this immortal flame won't disappoint me, Bu Fong said casually. Then he reached out his hand, grabbing the golden lotus flame, shoving it into his mouth. Chapter 1006. A gentle and magnetic voice resounded in the void. It reverberated everywhere. Everyone present couldn't help but raise their heads and look over. Jin Jiao furrowed his brows. He didn't understand who had come to help Hades' era at this moment. The 5 divine weapons moved in the void, continually emitting thick radiance and energy. This energy fell, bombarding the ruins on the ground. The Hollow Eye Scepter was the leader of the 5 divine weapons, so its power was incomparably intimidating. Prison Overlord Long also used this scepter to project his thought. However, a dog's paw crossed the sky, smashing the Hollow Eye in just a blink of an eye. This startled Jin Jiao and Luo Ji. They didn't think that the one who had attacked them would be so intimidating. Wait a minute, the one who attacked them didn't seem to be human. Luo Ji and Jin Jiao looked over. Their eyes shrank. It was a fat dog. The fat on its body seemed to shiver. Its fur was black, and its eyes were filled with a terrifying divine light. Next to the fat dog was a bald man, standing with his head bowed. Did that bald man attack them? Impossible. That bald man's aura was too weak. Even if Jin Jiao stood still and let that bald man hit him, that bald man couldn't even touch him. Thus, the one who attacked them shouldn't be that bald man. Then it was that fat dog? Lord Go strode his cat-like steps, slowly strolling in the void. The Black Dragon King lifted his head. His body shot down like a cannonball, landing by the side of the Netherworld ship. My daughter scared your father to death. That King Black Dog has some disease. The Black Dragon King's face was covered with tears and snot. That sudden jump through the void had scared him out of his wits. The important thing was after jumping through the void, that black dog suddenly lashed out with its paw, cursing, "Stinky dragon." The Black Dragon King was scared, thinking that the dog wanted to kill him to cook sweet and sour dragon ribs. Hua blinked her triflower snake eyes, looking at the Black Dragon King with sympathy in her eyes. Yu's eyes were pitch black. Her head turned, her gaze falling on the Black Dragon King. "Shut up. Silence." The Black Dragon King was stunned. He immediately shut his mouth, not daring to say anything. This violent woman, in the distance, Jin Jiao and Luo Ji looked at the Lord Go in the sky. Suddenly, Jin Jiao's pupils constricted and he sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that he recognized the Lord Go. After Jin Jiao recognized the Lord Go, Luo Ji also screamed, stomping her feet in the air. "Ah, it's him." Luo Ji's eyes sparkled with joy, as if she had just seen her idol. Jin Jiao's chest violently heaved. In the next instant, he looked as though he was facing a great enemy. His hand trembled. In the distance, the corpse ghost soul sealing fan flew into his hand, and he held it tightly. Nether energy swirled around his body, and his aura became extremely stagnant. Luo Ji also waved her hand, and the Death God scythe appeared in her hand. She swung it, and the illusionary void shattered. "You are going to fight?" The Lord Go strode with his enchanting cat-like steps, asking faintly. As the Lord Go continued to descend, Jin Jiao and Luo Ji became more anxious. No wonder it could smash Serenglong's thought projection with one paw. They didn't expect that dog to take action. That dog was the legend of the Earth Prison. In the legends, it was the Earth Prison dog that could fight against the old Hades. "Sir, I didn't expect to see you here. We don't dare to take action against you." Jin Jiao exhaled deeply, speaking. The Lord Go cocked his head, looking at him. "Sir, can you give me a strand of your dog fur? I'm your loyal fan." Luo Ji's eyes sparkled as she spoke excitedly. The corners of Jin Jiao's mouth twitched. This woman wasn't reliable at all. Was it the time to ask for dog fur? Was it the time to meet their idol? "But sir, we're just following your orders. Please forgive us," Jin Jiao said, gazing at the Lord Go. Jin Jiao said, gazing at Lord Dog. "We must bring the Nether King back. As the Lord of the Netherworld, he's not allowed to leave Earth Prison. And the Netherworld woman, we must bring her back. Sir, you should know how terrifying the curse on the Netherworld woman is after the old Hades fell." Luo Ji shouldered the Death God scythe, opening her mouth as stars twinkled in her eyes. "Sir Lord Go, Luo Ji sincerely asks you if you can give me a strand of dog fur. Please believe, Luo Ji. I'm really your loyal fan." Luo Ji said. Jin Jiao angrily glared at Luo Ji. This woman was stirring up trouble. What was the point now was to ask for dog fur. It was to think about how to bring Hades back. You have to bring Hades back. You also have to bring the Netherworld woman. Also, I want a strand of Lord Go's dog fur. Lord Go rolled his eyes, indifferently looking at Jin Jiao and Luo Ji. Then, what's the use of Lord Go coming here? To deliver dog fur from 1,000 miles away? Jin Jiao froze. Sir, what do you mean? My meaning is clear. Lord Go, I'm here to stir up trouble today. Lord Go said, as his voice resounded. The entire space seemed to have quieted down. Hua's Triflower Snake eyes brightened. She excitedly waved her fists. Lord Go was Lord Go, domineering. You slightly narrowed her eyes. When Lord Go had warned her not to come to this land of inheritance, you didn't care. But when the Earth Prison Overlord appeared, you knew that it was going to be bad. She thought that Lord Go wouldn't take action. Unexpectedly, Lord Go appeared. Lord Go was a good dog that said one thing but meant another. Wow, sir, why are you so handsome? Luo Ji covered her small face, her body fluttering in the air. If that's the case, we can only fight. Jin Jiao's face was solemn. Holding the corpse Go's soul sealing fan, he exhaled deeply. Fight! Lord Go's dog mouth twitched. Luo Ji looked at Jin Jiao suspiciously. Are you an idiot? How could you attack, sir? You want to hit my idol? What's your intention? For a moment, Jin Jiao wanted to chop this woman to death with his knife. Even a stupid teammate couldn't be that stupid. Buzz. All of a sudden, Jin Jiao felt a chill covering his body. A moment later, his pupils shrank. He hurried to use the corpse ghost soul sealing fan in front of his chest. A loud bang resounded. A dog's paw gently touched his body. Jin Jiao felt a terrifying force erupt. Along with it, he felt the pressure of a superior being. A sonic boom resounded. The void shattered unceasingly. Jin Jiao's entire body was shot out like a cannonball, landing hard on the ground. The ground suddenly caved in, rumbling and exploding. The black armor on Jin Jiao's body cracked, and a dog's paw print appeared. The corpse ghost soul sealing fan buzzed, turning into dots of light that filled the sky, scattering. Rumbled gravel rolled. A figure jumped out of the ruins in the distance. At this moment, Hades' era looked somewhat distressed. The hair on his head exploded, and his face was pitch black. His handsome face was covered in dust, which made him look really comical. You guys, you're as shameless as a mangy dog. We agreed to fight 2 against 1, but you called for help. You even gathered the 5 divine weapons to subdue Sir Hades. Don't you have any shame? Hades' era crawled out of the ruins. He looked really distressed. He coughed, puffing black smoke from his mouth. His entire body seemed to turn into a tabby cat. His hand shook, and a scarlet spicy strip appeared in his hand. Holding the spicy strip in his mouth, Hades' era closed his eyes, enjoying the spicy strip. Lord Go was a little speechless, looking at Hades' era. This guy is still so energetic. Lord Go always felt that it was unnecessary for him to come out and save him. Luo Ji looked at Hades' era, then at Lord Go. At this moment, she was a little hesitant. Sir Long said that we have to bring Brother Hades back. So, Luo Ji, please forgive me. Luo Ji thought for a while, then took a deep breath. After saying that, his figure suddenly disappeared in the void. When she reappeared, she was already in front of Lord Go. The death god's scythe glowed red. Then it slashed down. Swish! Tens of thousands of blood-red blade lights filled the entire sky. Hades' era leaned against a big rock, holding the spicy strip in his mouth as he looked at the void. Boom! An explosion resounded, followed by a scream. The scarlet blade lights that filled the sky were smashed by a paw. What? Luo Ji's figure spun like a windmill, falling from the sky. With a thud, she smashed into the ground. The word was embedded in the ground. Swish! The death god, Scythe, also fell, stabbing into the ground. An idol is an idol, forever the greatest dog in Luo Ji's heart. Luo Ji's eyes were spinning. Her pink lips curled up, and her small hand loosened. On it was a strand of black dog fur. Holding a strand of dog fur was like holding the entire world. It was so satisfying. Jin Jiao crawled up from the rubble, smiling bitterly. He had never thought that this dog would appear in the land of inheritance. It seemed like this operation was going to fail. Fortunately, Lord Goat didn't want to kill them. He just wanted to teach them a lesson. In the void, the remaining 3 divine artifacts were still flickering with brilliance on it. Lord Goat strode like a cat. Shortly after, he appeared in front of the 3 divine weapons. One paw, one slap. The primal chaos gold gourd and the overbearing hefty sword were slapped down from the sky, landing on the ground. Deep holes appeared on the ground. Finally, Lord Goat tilted his head, staring at the hollow eye scepter. The dog opened his mouth, yawning. A moment later, Lord Goat stretched out his dog paw. Buzz on the hollow eye scepter. Suddenly, a huge figure appeared. Fat dog, let go of your paw. An old figure appeared, staring at Lord Dog as he spoke indifferently. Raising his dog head, Lord Go stared at the old figure. Finally, he grinned. Stinky Dragon, you still dare to threaten Lord Go? Be careful. Lord Go will beat you half to death and throw you to Bufong to make sweet-in sour dragon ribs. Also, Lord Go will take care of your scepter for you. It's been a long time since I've eaten fire. Bufong's words stunned everybody. Gongshu Ban was bewildered, looking at the flaming wings on Bufong's back in his hands holding the golden lotus demonic flame. Eat fire? Could fire be eaten? That was an immortal flame, which had gathered the spirit energy of heaven and earth. After hundreds of thousands of years, it could become an immortal flame. The immortal flames on the immortal flame ranking had experienced countless years. Legend had it that the immortal flame that ranked first on the immortal flame ranking had taken billions of years to condense. It was so terrifying. This kind of flame, if the flesh touched it, it would be burned into ashes in just a blink of an eye. Not to mention swallowing it. Once someone swallowed it, they would be burned into ashes from the inside out. Eat fire? You're courting death. Tong Ruo sneered ferociously. Although I've become an immortal dish, and the golden lotus demonic flame doesn't have an owner anymore, the power of an immortal flame isn't something an immortal chef like you can imagine. The vermilion robe turned scarlet. The flaming wings on its back flapped, and flaming feathers fluttered unceasingly. In his spirit's sea, the vermilion birds chirping echoed unceasingly. Monstrous waves rose in the sea of consciousness. The vermilion bird's scarlet eyes focused. In Bufang's eyes, there seemed to be a restless vermilion bird. At this moment, Bufang had completely communicated with the vermilion robe's spirit. Bufang had successfully controlled the three god of cooking sets. Bufang could feel that after controlling the vermilion robe, its defense had become stronger. Moreover, Bufang's mental force seemed to become more majestic after the vermilion robe's buff. His powerful mental strength surged out like a tidal wave. A moment later, it turned into a big hand, grabbing the golden flame lotus. Bufang opened his mouth, shoving the flame lotus little by little. Buzz, the flame lotus trembled, unceasingly sending out waves. Tong Ruo's eyes shot out divine light. Die. You want to eat the immortal flame? You're courting death. Gong Shu Ban shook his head, his face desperate. All of a sudden, the void echoed. It was like someone was chewing carrots. There was a cracking sound. That golden flame lotus was bitten off by Bufang. Tong Ruo was bewildered. This? How could it be? Chapter 1007. Crunch. A crisp sound arose, as if someone was biting a carrot. In the flaming space, Tong Ruo was bewildered. Gong Shu Ban's desperate face stiffened. His eyes were filled with disbelief. When he heard the crisp sound, he couldn't help but lift his head, looking at a far distance. There a skinny figure was grabbing the flame, taking a bite. One of the golden fire lotuses was bitten off. A corner of it cracked open, and a thick fiery liquid seemed to be flowing out. It smelled good. Bufang raised his brows, glanced at the flaming lotus in his hand, and smacked his lips. Tong Ruo's eyes widened. How could it be? That's an immortal flame, not a big carrot. A corner of the immortal flame was bitten off? That fellow's teeth were that good? Wouldn't the flame burn him into ashes? However, Bufang didn't care about Tong Ruo. After smacking his lips, he shoved the immortal flame into his mouth. Crunch, crunch, crunch. After a few bites, he swallowed the entire flame lotus. Then he licked his fingers. It tastes like chicken. Puff. Gong Shu Ban gawked. A chicken-flavored immortal flame? Honorable must be joking. However, no one had ever tasted an immortal flame, so they weren't sure what it tasted like. Since he was the first person in history to eat fire, if he said it tasted like chicken, then it tasted like chicken. Anyway, the chicken-flavored flame tasted like the crunchy carrot. Gong Shu Ban felt like his view of the world had been changed. Tong Ruo was shivering. That was his immortal flame. It was actually swallowed by this kid. How was he able to swallow the flame? And his star knife seemed to be broken. That was a F** King high-grade immortal tool. Where the hell did this chef come from? Spit out the golden lotus demonic flame. Tong Ruo was enraged. How could he let Bufang eat his immortal flame? Without the golden lotus demonic flame, how could he break through to the Qilin chef realm? Buzz, he grabbed the tricolored yellow mystery wok, which was sealing Xiao Bai, and smashed it toward Bufang, who was floating in the air. Rumble. As an immortal tool, the tricolored yellow mystery wok was naturally powerful. It whizzed by, and there was a series of rumbling sounds. He wanted to smash Bufang with his wok. The golden lotus demonic flame couldn't be eaten. He had to spit it out. If he didn't spit it out, Then he would use the walk to smash this little chef until he spat it out. Suddenly, without the seal of the three-colored yellow mystery walk, the lightning on Xiao Bai's body suddenly flickered. The war god's stick enlarged in just a blink of an eye, aiming at Tong Ruo. At this moment, Tong Ruo was in no mood to play with Xiao Bai, although he had the idea of subduing Xiao Bai. However, at this moment, he really didn't have the mood to care about an Earth Immortal puppet. Screw off. Boom. As soon as Tong Ruo turned to Xiao Bai, his eyes lit up. An invisible force suddenly burst forth. Xiao Bai's body was hit by this invisible force. His body shot out like a cannonball. Boom! The giant golden flaming beast's stomach exploded. Then, Xiao Bai's body, which was covered in lightning, flew out of the flame, hitting the ground. The ground cracked, rumbling unceasingly. Boom! It smashed into the wall, causing the entire wall to crack. Xianyuan Xiaohui and Gong Shu Yun were bewildered, looking at Xiao Bai, their faces dull. The commotion attracted the attention of Nethery and the others in the distance. Yu's pitch-black eyes turned, falling on Xiao Bai's body. Her face changed. Xiao Bai was thrown out? Did that mean Bu Fong had lost his protection? Was Bu Fong in danger? In the sky, a naked baby flapped his pure white wings, projecting all the scenes into his mind. All of a sudden, the baby's eyes fell on the golden lotus demonic flame. In the Heaven Chief realm, above the canopy of the Heaven Tree, in front of the wooden house, the naked, blond man's eyes were blurry. What a fat dog. So meaty. The man mumbled. He stuck out his tongue, licking his lips. Next to him, the voluptuous, mature woman, Yaya, blushed when she saw Hades' movements. Ah, golden lotus demonic flame. Interesting. Does he want to open another path? Too bad. It's not easy to become a Chilean chef. The man combed his golden hair and continued to watch with great interest. Realm Lord, Your Highness, don't you think that fat dog looks familiar? The corner of Yaya's mouth twitched as she asked the naked Realm Lord. Huh, does it look familiar? The Realm Lord was bewildered, asking. Recently, I rarely go to Old Feng's place to eat dog meat. Yaya rubbed her forehead. The Realm Lord's Highness was really forgetful. Did all the big shots have this many problems? Realm Lord, Your Highness, as long as you're happy, gulp. Gulp. After swallowing the golden lotus demonic flame, Bu Fong's face changed. He furrowed his brows. Tong Ruo was bewildered when he saw Bu Fong. Then he burst out laughing. Eat fire. You got a backlash, right? The tricolored yellow mystery walk was still flying. It wanted to seize the chance when Bu Fong got the backlash to smash Bu Fong. However, shortly after, Tong Ruo's face changed. When the tricolored yellow mystery walk approached Bu Fong, it was stopped by a scarlet energy. As it approached Bu Fong, it slowed down. Eventually, Bu Fong raised his arm. Black lights swirled on his arm. A moment later, the black turtle constellation walk appeared in his hand. Indifferently, he glanced at Tong Ruo. Then, he looked at the tricolored yellow mystery walk. Bu Fong exhaled a breath, which was accompanied by golden wisps of flames. The black turtle constellation walk pounded on the tricolored yellow mystery walk. Boom! A muffled thud echoed. Tong Ruo was bewildered. A bestial roar rose in Bu Fong's spirit. See one more time. The vermilion bird screeched, and the black turtle roared. The black turtle, who carried the mountain on its back, roared, its eyes sparkling. Instantly, the black turtle constellation walk radiated thousands of beams of light. Boom! Under this attack, the tricolored yellow mystery walk seemed to tremble. Tong Ruo's face shook unceasingly. He had a big change. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He could feel that the tricolored yellow mystery walk's spirit was scared. The tricolored yellow mystery walk was a high-grade, immortal tool. That immortal tool's spirit was actually scared. Was the black walk in that young man's hand an immortal tool that was even stronger than the tricolored yellow mystery walk? Inside Bu Fong's spirit sea, a giant toad suddenly appeared. The moment it appeared, its eyeballs widened like saucers. Its body shivered as it looked at the three terrifying figures in front of it. The gold divine dragon, the sky-bearing black turtle, and the scarlet flame vermilion bird. Where was he? The black turtle's eyes shot out divine light. Its giant foot stomped on the toad. That toad was the tricolored yellow mystery walk spirit. Facing the black turtle, it couldn't resist at all. Then, the black turtle craned its head, swallowing the toad. Outside, there was a crisp cracking sound. Numerous cracks suddenly appeared on the tricolored yellow mystery walk. In just a blink of an eye, those cracks covered the entire walk. A moment later, it shattered. It turned into thousands of pieces, scattering everywhere. Tong Rua's body trembled, and he staggered a few steps back. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The star knife was broken, and the tricolored yellow mystery walk was also broken. Did he have 8 lifetimes worth of bad luck? What kind of chef had he met? Damn it. Was that fellow the bastard of the Heaven Chief, Realm's Realm Lord? Why did he have such powerful immortal tools? Whether it was the golden kitchen knife, the black wok, or the chef robe on his body, they were all unbelievably powerful immortal tools. After smashing the tricolored yellow mystery wok, Bu Fong raised his head. He opened his mouth, and golden flames continuously spread out from his mouth. Burping, the flames jumped for a while. Then, Bu Fong shoved them back in his mouth. Bu Fong held the steaming mapo tofu in one hand and the black turtle constellation wok in the other. The flaming wings on his back opened, which made him look really magical. Tong Rua's body shivered. He had planned for so long. How could he let it fail because of a little chef? He wasn't willing. He wanted to become a Qilin chef. Boom! Tong Rua's face was ferocious as he stormed out. Pouncing on Bu Fong, the entire space began to tremble. Gongshu Ban's face changed. He looked at Bu Fong, his eyes filled with worry. Tong Rua was about to risk his life. He wanted to use his mighty spirit C to completely subdue Bu Fong. He didn't know if Owner Bu could resist it or not. A wave of energy rippled. A moment later, the entire space was swept away. This is my spirit C. In here, I'm God. You can't stop me. Tong Rual was enraged, roaring. His spirit C swept over, pressing down on Bu Fong. He wanted to use brute force to crush Bu Fong. However, shortly after, he found that he was wrong. Very, very wrong. His spirit C was pressing down on Bu Fong's spirit C, but the moment he touched Bu Fong's spirit C, he was stunned in the void. It was just a glimpse. Incomparably vast. Earth-shaking waves, 3 gigantic beasts blotted out the sky and the sun. A divine dragon roared in the sky. A black tortoise pressed down on a giant toad, swallowing it. A vermilion bird spread its wings and cried, its voice loud and clear. Is that the 3-colored yellow mystery walk spirit? As the owner of the 3-colored yellow mystery walk, of course, Tong Rua knew that spirit. Looking at the spirit being swallowed, Tong Rua's face became extremely odd and frightened. Boom! The gold divine dragon roared, the black tortoise roared, and the vermilion bird screeched. Tong Rua's face shook hard. In the next moment, his spiritual sea began to rapidly crumble. No, no! Tong Rua seemed to have gone crazy. He screamed desperately. He had never thought that it would end like this. His spirit sea barged into Bu Fong's spirit sea, and it shattered like a moth flying into a flame. The flaming space began to collapse. Tong Rua's body shook unceasingly. His immortal energy seemed to lose control, beginning to shake rapidly. After his spirit sea was smashed by Bu Fong's, Tong Rua's consciousness vanished. The aura on his body faded. Eventually, he turned into a jade-white piece of tofu. That piece of tofu had immortal energy twirling around it. Bai Guang soared into the sky. Boom! The flames scattered. The vermilion robe on Bu Fong's body quieted down, returning to its red and white color. At the same time, a gold flame hovered above Bu Fong's palm. Gongshu Ban dropped his jaw in shock. The flaming space vanished. Xin Yuan Xiaohui and Gongshu Yin saw Bu Fong and Gongshu Ban. Brother. Gongshu Yin saw Gongshu Ban alive, tears of excitement rolling down her cheeks. Gongshu Ban numbly twisted his neck. Seeing Gong Shu Yun, a divine light appeared in his eyes. The flaming space vanished. It was a massive lotus throne made of stone. It was a huge stone lotus seat, and a withered figure was sitting cross-legged in the middle of it. That figure looked similar to Tong Ruo. That figure was holding a jade plate with a piece of tofu on it. The tofu looked like jade, with immortal energy twirling around it. Bu Fong retrieved the black turtle constellation walk. His hand moved, and the jade-like tofu floated in his hand. Boom! Far from them, a loud explosion echoed. A sky-covering dog paw emerged in the sky. Bu Fong was a little bewildered, looking in that direction. That familiar dog paw. The Lord Go is here too? Bu Fong was bewildered. A moment later, the corners of his mouth rose. Then, holding the steaming mapo tofu in one hand and the jade-white tofu in the other, he walked toward the dog paw. Chapter 1008. Mangy Dog. If you dare touch this old man's hollow eye staff, I won't let you off. Inglong's phantom emerged on the hollow eye staff. His white hair fluttered as he roared at the Lord Go. However, the only response he got was a sneer from the Lord Go. Then he swung his paw. That paw directly smashed the void, pounding on the Inglong prison overlord's phantom. The phantom became blurry for a moment. Then it was twisted and shattered. Only the Inglong prison overlord's roar remained. In the distance, Jin Jiao took in a breath of cold air. Looking at the Lord Go, who had smashed the Inglong prison overlord's phantom, his body shivered. The hollow eye staff bloomed with divine light. Nether energy twirled around it. After the Lord Go had smashed Inglong's phantom, his paw swung in the air. Instantly, the void was torn. He patted the void eye scepter with his claw, and the scepter fell into the crack in the void. The Lord Go collected it. The corners of Jin Jiao's mouth twitched. That was the Inglong prison overlord's divine weapon, and the Lord Go had collected it just like that. The legendary character of Earth Prison, the shameless Earth Prison dog, lived up to his reputation. Hades' era held the spicy strip in his mouth, smiling. He wasn't surprised by the Lord Go's shameless behavior. That ignorant old man, Inglong, wanted to take back the hollow eye staff. It seemed he would have to struggle a lot. The Lord Go's eyes turned to him. Jin Jiao's body tensed. He hurried to collect the primal chaos gold gourd. It was his brother's weapon. If that mangy dog took it, it would be hard to get it back. Luo Ji also crawled up from the floor, carefully collecting the strand of dog fur. Then, she hugged her death god scythe, looking at the Lord Go. He seemed to have met the Lord Go's gaze. Lord Go, I'm your loyal fan. As your idol, you can't treat your fan like this. Luo Ji hugged the death god scythe and said seriously. The corner of Lord Go's mouth twitched when he saw this woman. In the distance, Bu Fong was walking in the air. Looking at Bu Fong, Lord Go's eyes lit up. Bu Fong's aura has changed again. Looks like he has improved a lot. Seeing Bu Fong, Jin Jiao and Luo Ji frowned. They did not recognize Bu Fong, so they felt it was strange that this ant-like human would attract so many people's attention. Bu Fong landed on the Netherworld ship. Yu's pitch-black eyes stared at Bu Fong, causing Bu Fong to be puzzled. The mapo tofu in his hand was exuding a rich fragrance that continuously stimulated one's taste buds. What happened? Bu Fong frowned, asking. Wow, Bu Fong, my little friend, that fat dog wants to eat sweet and sour dragon ribs. Before Nethery could say anything, the Black Dragon King hugged Bu Fong's leg with tears and snot streaming down his face. He began to cry. Bu Fong was bewildered. The corner of Yu's mouth twitched. Hua sighed, shaking his head and rubbing his forehead, speechless. Bu Fong was also speechless. If Lord Go wanted to eat sweet and sour dragon ribs, would the Black Dragon King be here, crying and snot? With just one swipe of his claw, he would turn into minced meat. His eyes turned to Hua. The corners of Bu Fong's mouth twitched. Looking at the white jade tofu in his hand, he then looked at Hua. Hua, here's something good for you. Bu Fong said. Hua's triflower snake eyes brightened. She lifted her head, looking at Bu Fong in pleasant surprise. "Here's this fragrant tofu for you." Bu Fong gave the white jade tofu to Hua. It was the tofu that Tong Ruo had prepared for his Qilin chef promotion. The energy it contained was really strong. Giving it to Hua wasn't a bad choice. With such a huge amount of energy, it could speed up Hua's evolution. No matter what, the seven-colored sky, devouring python, needed a lot of energy to evolve. Hua thought that Bu Fong wanted to give her something to eat, but it was just a piece of tofu. She wanted to eat meat. She wanted to eat spicy blood lobster. However, although she wasn't willing, Hua still took it. In the distance, Gong Shu Ban felt his heart ache. That was an immortal dish that was infinitely close to level 10. Bu Fong was such a waste of a heavenly gift. He gave such an immortal dish to a kid, and the most important thing was that kid didn't want it. If it was given to him, even if he had to sacrifice himself, he would be willing. Munch. Munch. Looking at Hua swallow the white jade tofu, Gong Shu Ban felt his heart bleeding. This trip to the land of inheritance was a big loss. "How do you feel?" Bu Fong looked at Hua, asking. "Bu Fong, kid, what did you use to kidnap my daughter?" The Black Dragon King asked vigilantly. Bu Fong glanced at the Black Dragon King, then ignored him. As soon as the white jade tofu entered her mouth, Hua felt her entire body radiate radiance. The Triflower Snake eyes spun, and a wave of powerful energy burst out from Hua's body. The Black Dragon King was startled. "Buzz," Hua felt her eyelids become heavy. "Bu Fong, those two bad guys want to take you sis away. We can't let them take you sis away." Hua squinted, opening her mouth and talking to Bu Fong in a childish voice. "What?" Bu Fong was bewildered. He was also bewildered. The Black Dragon King was frightened. "Oh my God, Hua could talk." "Wait a minute." The childish voice made Bu Fong's eyes sharpen. "They want to take you away? Why?" Bu Fong turned to look at you, frowning suspiciously. You pouted, blinking her pitch-black eyes as she gazed at Bu Fong. She didn't say anything. In the distance, Hades' Era almost choked to death on a spicy strip. "These two fellows are clearly planning on taking this king away, all right? Nethery is just a side dish, okay? Little snake, don't get it wrong." Lord Go didn't expect that a piece of tofu could help Hua talk. Moreover, looking at the energy bursting out of Hua's body, he was about to evolve. He was about to molt for the third time. Every time the seven-colored sky, devouring python molted, it would have one more color, and its power would increase tremendously. However, Lord Go's nose twitched, his eyes squinting. "Bu Fong, kid, what's that in your hand?" Smelling the aroma of the mapo tofu, Lord Go's eyes became sharp. "Oh, mapo tofu. Do you want to eat it?" Bu Fong held the mapo tofu in his hand, asking. It was a cooked dish, but Tong Ruo had stirred up trouble, so no one wanted to eat it. "Hey, can you guys pay attention to I have to leave," Hades' Era said. "What?" When Hades' Era's voice arose, everybody was bewildered. Jin Jiao and Luo Ji instinctively looked at Hades' Era. Hades wanted to leave? Did he want to return to Earth Prison with them? But he had resisted unceasingly. Lord Go couldn't follow Hades' Era's train of thought. He tilted his dog head, asking suspiciously, "What do you mean?" "I have thought it through. As the Lord of the Netherworld, I have a responsibility. That year, my father even dared to attack Nether Prison for this responsibility. And I'm still young. One day, I will reach my father's level. At that time, I will attack Nether Prison." Hades' Era said. Jin Jiao's bright eyes gazed at Hades' Era. Luo Ji's eyes were filled with love. "Big brother Hades, you're so handsome. Mangy dog, at that time, are you willing to accompany I to attack Nether Prison?" Hades exhaled, holding the spicy strip in his mouth. He flicked his hair, his eyes blurry as he asked. "Attack Nether Prison." Jin Jiao's eyes shot out a fierce fighting will. The ruined prison was the weakest, and Nether Prison was the most mysterious. Earth Prison was in the middle. Many times, he had failed to attack Nether Prison. If he could accompany His Excellency Hades to attack Nether Prison, even if he had to die, His Excellency Hades had finally come to his senses. "Attack Nether Prison?" Lord Go glanced at Hades' era. Right? We want to conquer the sea of stars. Will you accompany me? Hades' era grinned. No, Lord Go said, his face emotionless. At this moment, the atmosphere was a little awkward. The corners of Bu Fong's mouth twitched. You pursed her lips, looking at Hades' era's dark face. She tried not to laugh out loud. Heaven Chief whirled. In front of the wooden house on the top floor. Ha ha. So awkward. This dog has character. No. Ha ha. The golden-haired man couldn't stop laughing. Tears seemed to come out his eyes. Yaya also pursed her lips. Worthy of being the Earth prison dog. Such character. Anyway, my dear Realm Lord, why are you laughing so happily? Have you forgotten the time when you were attacked by this dog? Yaya looked at the Realm Lord, who was laughing so hard that his muscles were shaking. She didn't know what to say. Hades' era felt that he and this fat dog were fated to be enemies. You've changed. You were willing to accompany my father to attack Nether Prison. Hades' era bit a spicy strip, speaking indignantly. Your father is very strong. You. Lord Go looked at Hades' era from head to toe. TSK. Hades' era felt that his lungs were about to explode. His afro head was about to explode again. Even when Jin Jiao and the others used the 5 divine weapons to suppress him, he wasn't this angry. After a long time, he exhaled. Forget it. You mangy dog aren't reliable. Hades said. Bu Fong frowned. Hades' era wanted to leave? His eyes turned to Jin Jiao and Luo Ji. These two fellows wanted to take you away? Bu Fong, young man, you will miss I, right? Hades' era seemed to remember something. He lifted his head, his bright eyes gazing at Bu Fong. Bu Fong looked at Hades' era, his face expressionless. After a long time, he shook his head. Why would I miss you? At this moment, the atmosphere became extremely awkward. Suddenly, Bu Fong waved his hand. The steaming mapo tofu in his hand, which was shrouded in immortal energy, flew toward Nether King Erha. You really want to leave? Bu Fong asked. Hades' era was bewildered. He received the mapo tofu, and a fragrant aroma permeated his nostrils. So fragrant, Hades' era sighed in admiration. Then, he looked at Bu Fong, smiling. It's time to go back and find something that belongs to me. You young men are constantly improving for a goal. It's time for I to go back and realize my goal. Hades' era had witnessed Bu Fong's progress. From a weak little chef, he had grown into the current Heaven Chief. Hades' era was also moved. Good. This mapo tofu is on you. Bu Fong said. Hades' era grinned. Bu Fong, young man, still had eye in his heart. Hey, Bu Fong, young man, can you make a small request? Bu Fong was taken aback. Say it. Can you give I 1,000 spicy strips? Otherwise, when I return to Earth Prison, I will wish I were dead, Hades said bashfully. Bu Fong said, Get lost. Ha ha ha. Nether King Erha burst into laughter. He grabbed a spoon, scooped a spoonful of mapo tofu, and stuffed it into his mouth. As soon as the mapo tofu entered his stomach, a numbing aroma exploded. The soft and fragrant tofu made all the pores on Hades' era's body open. Awesome. Hades' era held the mapo tofu and turned around. Nether energy burst out from his feet, and a magic array appeared. As he ate the tofu, he stepped into the formation and slowly disappeared. Bu Fong, young man, I will come back. Spicy strips, I will come back. As soon as he finished speaking, Hades' era disappeared. Jin Jiao and Luo Ji exchanged looks. A moment later, they soared up into the sky. They faced Lord Go. Jin Jiao bowed, speaking respectfully, Sir, we must bring the Netherworld woman back. Please don't stop us. Luo Ji grinned, shouldering the death god's scythe. Idol, I'm your loyal fan. Can you give me another strand of your dog's fur? Lord Go, why do you want to bring you away? However, Lord Go hadn't opened his mouth yet. Bu Fong's cold voice echoed behind Jin Jiao and Luo Ji. Chapter 1009. What right do you have to bring you back? Bu Fong's indifferent voice reverberated in the void. Everybody present was bewildered. Whether it was Jin Jiao, Luo Ji, or Xianyuan Xiaohui, and the others, they were all bewildered. Lord Go's mouth curved into a smile. He looked at Bu Fong playfully, then shifted his gaze to Jin Jiao. Xianyuan Xiaohui paled. She had witnessed Jin Jiao's terrifying power. That kind of existence could make Bu Fong's corpse disappear with just a wave of his hand. How could Owner Bu have the guts to challenge that kind of person? However, when she saw the black dog, Xianyuan Xiaohui heaved a sigh of relief. It was right. With that heaven-defying black dog, it was okay for Owner Bu to shout. I never knew that mortal chef could have such a handsome side. Gong Shuyan looked at the sky and saw Bu Fong, who wasn't afraid of Jin Jiao at all. She couldn't help but feel envious. In the eyes of a little girl like her, to be able to resist the strong for the sake of a woman, that was handsome. Gong Shuban and Xianyuan Xiaohui exchanged looks. Why? You're just an ant. What do you know? The Netherworld woman has a big curse on her body. If we can't suppress this curse, once it erupts, do you know how dangerous it will be? Jin Jiao's eyes were like torches, looking at Bu Fong as he shouted. He was a little indignant. He had seen so many infatuated men like Bu Fong. For a woman, they didn't care about the consequences. Even old Hades had a hard time dealing with the Netherworld woman's curse, let alone them. Bringing the Netherworld woman back gave them a lot of pressure. The Netherworld woman was beautiful, but her beauty was like a rose with thorns. That kind of curse is very frightening. Don't think that just because Sir is here, you can be unbridled. If that curse erupts, even Sir can't stop it. Jin Jiao said. Jin Jiao looked at Lord Go. He was telling the truth. Even the previous Nether King could only suppress the curse and not get rid of it. It was even more impossible for Lord Dog to do that. After all, Lord Go was just a Cerberus with extraordinary combat power. He did not dabble in formations like Hades. Tantric Buddhism, Lord Go rolled his eyes. He indeed couldn't do it, but it wasn't as bad as Jin Jiao said. After all, he was an existence that could take a bite out of the heavenly Tao. If the curse erupts, the entire Heaven Chief world will turn into hell on earth and descend into deathly stillness, Jin Jiao said with a gloomy face. Bu Fong narrowed his eyes. Is the curse on you really that terrifying? But so what? Bring him back, and you can suppress the curse on him? Bu Fong said casually. On the Netherworld ship, you was a little bewildered. Her pitch-black eyes sparkled. Lord Go stuck out his tongue, indicating that he couldn't join in on this topic. Wow, Owner Bu is so cool. He should be this fearless. Gong Shuyan clenched her fists, shouting excitedly. She felt as though she was about to witness a touching love story. Why are you so excited? Owner Bu is just protecting his shop's employees. Xianyuan Xiaohui looked at the excited Gong Shuyan, scratching her head. Gong Shuyan's body stiffened. Then, her sharp eyes turned around. Don't talk. Owner Bu is such a good man. How can you guess him with your dirty thoughts? Xianyuan Xiaohui didn't know whether to cry or laugh. With his understanding of Bu Fong was protecting you because she was his shop's employee. Jin Jiao was baffled by Bu Fong's words. His eyes widened, but he couldn't utter a word. Luo Ji pursed her red lips, squinting as she looked at Bu Fong. Oh, little chef, you're really interesting. Do you like our little sister Nethery? Luo Ji shouldered the death god's scythe, looking at Bu Fong. Her long, slender legs strode in the air. In just a few moments, he had reached Bu Fong's side. Bu Fong was taller than Luo Ji, even though Luo Ji had a voluptuous body with leg below her belly button. Luo Ji leaned forward, squinting as she studied Bu Fong. You're my restaurant's waitress. As an owner, protecting your employees is what I should do, Bu Fong said calmly. Facing the enchanting Luo Ji, Bu Fong's face didn't change at all. TSK, TSK, TSK. Little boys nowadays really know how to find excuses. Little chef, listen carefully. Don't blame Big Sister for not reminding you. Little Sister Nethery's big sister is a terrifying, violent maniac. If you want to chase after Nethery, be careful. That violent maniac will tear down your restaurant, Luo Ji said. After saying that, she covered her pink lips and laughed out loud. She laughed so hard that her entire body shook. Lord Go, can you slap this woman away? A bowl of sweet and sour ribs. Bufong calmly looked at Luo Ji, then turned to look at Lord Go in the distance. Lord Go's eyes brightened. A bowl of sweet and sour ribs, my pleasure. I've been annoyed by women for a long time. She even dares to pluck the beautiful dog fur on Lord Go's body. Luo Ji's laughter stopped. The conversation between Bufong and Lord Go made her dumbstruck. Idle, you can't treat your most loyal fan like that. When Luo Ji saw Lord Go raise his dog paw, her eyes filled with tears, snot and tears running down her face. Lord Go's raised paw froze. Bufong looked at Lord Go, pursing his lips. Idle, think about it carefully. A loyal fan or a bowl of sweet and sour ribs? Which one is more important? Luo Ji pitifully looked at Lord Go, looking like a little wife who had been bullied. Fans and sweet and sour ribs. Lord Go's nose puffed out white smoke. Of course, sweet and sour ribs is more important. Lord Go didn't even think about it. He rolled his eyes, making his decision. Then boom, the dog paw swung out. Luo Ji's face was bewildered. Her body spun rapidly like a windmill, falling, smashing into the ground once again. Swish. The death god's scythe stabbed into the ground in the distance. Luo Ji was bewildered. As a loyal fan, she couldn't even compare to a plate of sweet and sour ribs. You mortal, you're unreasonable, Jin Jiao said coldly. Anyway, the Netherworld woman must return to Earth prison with us. With Serene Long's ability, he should be able to suppress the curse. However, what he got in reply was a cold snort from Lord Go. That stinky dragon can suppress the curse. Don't talk anymore. Be careful, Lord Go, or you'll laugh yourself to death. Lord Go's words were filled with disdain for Ing Long, the Lord of Earth prison. If Sir Ing Long can't do it, who else can? Jin Jiao said. Me. All of a sudden, as soon as Jin Jiao's voice faded, Bufong's faint voice arose. Jin Jiao was bewildered. Lord Go's dog mouth twitched. You're just a mortal chef. How could you suppress the curse? Jin Jiao sneered, looking at Bufong. It wasn't that he was mocking Bufong, but compared to the Earth Prison Overlord, Bufong's cultivation base was really too weak. So weak that he couldn't even raise his interest. This kind of power, how could he suppress the curse? How could he suppress the curse? Boom! The aura on Jin Jiao's body burst out. It was an incomparably powerful aura, and the entire space seemed to tremble. In the distance, Gong Shu Ban and the others felt their hearts shrink, feeling frightened. This aura, too oppressive, too terrifying. Do you feel suffocated? Do you feel your legs shivering? With your cultivation base, how could you suppress the curse? Jin Jiao coldly looked at Bufong, the muscles on his body seemingly bulging. He planned to use his pressure to force Bufong to yield. Even if the other party was acquainted with Lord Go, he had to let him know that he had overestimated himself. Lord Go's eyes focused. The corners of his mouth twitched, but he didn't take any action. On the Netherworld ship, the veins on Yu's eyes slowly faded, revealing her beautiful eyes. With a trace of worry in her eyes, she looked at Bufong. Rumble, rumble. Under the pressure of the golden horn, the skies seemed to have become roaring. Bufong exhaled a long breath. He didn't understand why so many people liked to use their pressure to oppress him. His calm eyes looked at Jin Jiao. The vermilion robe on Bufong's body suddenly radiated. The vermilion robe, which was originally red and white, suddenly turned crimson red at this moment. It seemed like a vermilion bird's cry arose. Behind Bufong, a pair of flaming wings unfolded. Feathers fluttered in the sky. Green smoke twirled. The pitch-black turtle constellation wok appeared in Bufong's hand. I'm a chef. Why do I have to use power to balance my ability? Are you a pig? Bufong said. Hearing him, Jin Jiao was dumbstruck. This mortal ant. What did he say? Boom. A moment later, before he could pull himself together, a black wok suddenly enlarged in front of his eyes. A thud resounded. The black wok smashed onto his head. Jin Jiao's face darkened. That black wok hit his face, intimately touching the golden horn on his forehead. The indestructible golden horn had almost been smashed into pieces. That bone-piercing pain made Jin Jiao clutch his horn, howling miserably in the void. On the ground, as soon as Luo Ji got up, she saw a scene that made her dumbstruck. This little chef, he's so violent. Just because he didn't say anything, he started a fight. He's like you, Ji. Bu Fong was a little surprised. His wok didn't smash Jin Jiao away. That fellow's power was really strong. He retrieved the vermilion robe, but the black turtle constellation wok was still hovering in his hand. The curse on you. I can suppress it. My dish can suppress her curse. Bu Fong said casually. What nonsense are you talking about? If my dish could suppress the curse, why would the Netherworld woman's curse bother the entire Earth prison? Jin Jiao's tears almost rolled down his face. If the Lord Go wasn't here, with his fiery temper, he would have torn that human who dared to violate his noble golden horn into pieces. His dish could suppress the curse? That year, to suppress the curse, old Hades had tried all kinds of methods. He had even asked that perverted realm lord of the Heaven Chief realm to cook a dish, but he still couldn't suppress the curse. This little chef in front of him said that his dish could suppress the curse. What kind of joke was this? Did that little chef think that his cooking skill was better than the realm lord of the Heaven Chief realm? The realm lord of the Heaven Chief realm was the strongest chef in the Heaven Chief realm. He was a high-grade Qilin chef. In the Heaven Chief realm, in front of the canopy cabin on the top floor, a naked, blond man looked at Bu Fong with interest. Interesting. This little chef is wild, but he's wild. As a great chef, he has to be wild. Yaya looked at the excited Realm Lord, rubbing her temples. Realm Lord, Your Highness, he's not wild. He's overestimating himself. Yaya said, that year, your dish with the principal couldn't suppress the curse. Where did this little chef get his courage to say that? Why can't this little chef say that? The Realm Lord looked at Yaya, strangely. Isn't it good for him to be confident in his cooking skills? You should know, if you want to become a Qilin chef, you must have the heart of cooking path. If you don't have confidence in your cooking skills, how could you condense the heart of cooking path? The Realm Lord said. Yaya was bewildered. What the Realm Lord said made sense. She didn't know what to say. The Realm Lord flipped his blonde hair, his eyes shining as he gazed at Bu Fong. It's time for this Realm Lord to show up. This little chef has a bright future. I'm willing to accept him as my apprentice. I wish him good luck in condensing the heart of cooking path, pushing open the door to the peak of cooking. Ha ha! The Realm Lord laughed, placing his hands on his waist. His naked body bloomed with divine light. Chapter 10:10. You don't believe me? Bu Fong looked at Jin Jiao, asking seriously. Why should I believe you? Jin Jiao asked. It was something that even the Realm Lord of the Heaven Chief realm couldn't do. How could an immortal chef, have the courage to say that he could do it? Lord Go didn't say anything. He floated down from the void of space and landed on the ground full of ruins. I'm tired, Lord Go. Let Lord Go lie down for a while. Lord Go lay on the ground, his head touching the ground. He grunted, not moving an inch. Actually, he believed in Bu Fong because Bu Fong was different. Bu Fong's cooking skills were always beyond people's expectations. Moreover, Lord Go had witnessed Bu Fong's cooking skills subduing Nethery's curse. Although Lord Go knew it, he didn't say anything. Lord Go, who was tired of flying, just wanted to lie down quietly. Jin Jiao and the others also landed. Bu Fong held the black turtle constellation wok, landing on the ground. He indifferently looked at Jin Jiao. Sir Jin Jiao, Bu Fong's dishes can really subdue my curse. Far from them. You walked down from the Netherworld ship. Her black dress fluttered in the wind. Her pitch-black hair cascaded like a waterfall, reaching her waist. Her skin was as white as jade. The black and white colors created an eye-catching contrast. She looked like someone walking out of a painting, so beautiful that it took people's breath away. Her legs were straight, sparkling, and translucent like jade. Jin Jiao glanced at Yu, not saying anything. Although Yu was beautiful, when he saw Yu's breathtakingly exquisite face, he couldn't help but think of that violent woman. Thinking of that violent woman, he couldn't help but shiver. She was a terrifying woman who dared to resist the entire Earth Prison's big clan with just a sword. She was violent, beautiful, and aloof, a strange woman who was a combination of the three. As he recalled that woman's words, Jin Jiao felt that he had to bring the Netherworld woman back. Jin Jiao's mouth twitched. He didn't understand why his little brother would be infatuated with such a violent woman. The women of the Dark Fox clan in Hell were much better, with slender waists, big breasts, and round buttocks. They were simply the model of a perfect woman. Netherworld woman, you should know that you have a curse on you. If you stay together with this human, you won't have a good ending. Jin Jiao looked at Yu, his facial muscles twitching as he said, "Don't speak for him. You have to understand that the curse on your body is enough to destroy the entire Heaven Chief world. If you love him, please give up on him." Luo Ji was bewildered, looking at Jin Jiao. Since when did this fellow become a love counselor? What he said didn't make some sense. Bu Fong and you were speechless. How could this big guy have so many love philosophies? I'm just telling the truth. Bu Fong's dishes are different. They can subdue the curse, but I don't know why. Yu's face was cold, her voice cold. Jin Jiao slightly frowned because he found that Yu wasn't joking. Could it be that mortal chef's dishes could subdue the curse on you? If it was true, that was really good news. Jin Jiao was surprised, looking at Bu Fong. Boom, boom. All of a sudden, the void shook. Jin Jiao and Luo Ji's faces changed, looking into the distance. There, a crack appeared in the void. Then, a pair of exquisite hands reached out from the crack. He abruptly tore the fissure to two sides, creating a huge gap. Two figures slowly walked out of the hole. Since this little chef said that his dishes could subdue my little sister's curse, I'll bring him back to hell. An indifferent voice arose. That voice was filled with heroic spirit and a terrifying murderous aura. Far from them, Gong Shu Ban and the others were shivering. As soon as those two figures appeared, the entire space seemed to be shrouded in murderous aura. They were so scared that their legs shivered. What? What a terrifying aura. The pitch-black armor wrapped around her voluptuous body. Her waterfall-like hair was tied up with metal rings and turned into a whip. It looked like a ponytail that was propped up on her head. However, each of those metal rings seemed to be a great killing weapon. When they swung, they seemed to be able to shatter the void. It was a woman, a very good-looking woman. Her exquisite features weren't weaker than Yu's. The two of them were 70 to 80% similar. That woman wore black armor, but her style was totally different from Luo Ji's. Luo Ji's body was also hot. Wearing black armor, she looked charming and mature. However, Yu Ji wore black armor, which gave her a heroic spirit. Her long legs were clad in black armor boots that wrapped all the way up to her knees, revealing her fair thighs above her knees. Her heroic spirit was bursting, but it didn't lose its charm. So beautiful. When Gong Shu Ban and Xianyuan Xiaohui saw the woman walking out of the void, they were a little bewildered, muttering to themselves. Gong Shu Yin looked at Xianyuan Xiaohui's perverted face. She was so enraged that she elbowed Xianyuan Xiaohui's nose, making Xianyuan Xiaohui's eyes almost pop out. "What are you looking at?" "Don't look," said Gong Shu Yin. Lord Go was surprised, looking at the two figures. One of them was a woman, and the other was a handsome man. He had a silver horn on his head, and his silver hair flowed down his back. He was noble, gorgeous, and elegant. He looked different from Jin Jiao's bald head. "Yu Ji, Yin Jiao, why are you here?" Jin Jiao's eyes shrank. Seeing the two of them, he couldn't help but ask. Yu Ji indifferently looked at Jin Jiao. She raised her hand, and a wisp of nether energy hovered above her palm. Soon, a buzzing sound echoed. A terrifying explosion arose from a far distance. A pitch-black radiance suddenly tore through the void. A moment later, a pitch-black greatsword appeared in Yu Ji's hand. That greatsword was so massive that it was even bigger than Yuji's body. It was one of the 5 divine weapons that had subdued Hades' era, the overbearing, hefty sword. Brother, you're too slow. Moreover, since we found a netherworld woman, my baby couldn't wait to come here. Yin Jiao squinted, smiling, handsome, and gentle. However, as soon as he finished, swish, a greatsword was placed on his neck. Cold energy diffused from the greatsword, bringing with it a terrifying chill. Who's your baby? Yuji asked indifferently. Baby, what are you talking about? I only have you in my heart. You're my baby. Yin Jiao's eyes were filled with deep affection. I like your violent look. Oh. Boom. The greatsword slashed horizontally. A moment later, Yin Jiao turned into a jet of silver light, shooting far away, hitting the ground. The entire ground collapsed and collapsed. Shameless bastard. Get lost. Yuji was indifferent. She put the overbearing, hefty sword back on her back, not bothering to look at Yin Jiao, who had been sent flying. In the distance, with a crash, crushed stones tumbled down. Yin Jiao got up from the rubble. 2 red snakes trickled out of his nostrils. He tidied his silver hair, trying to look elegant and graceful. Baby, you're so naughty. Your violent look is so cute. Jin Jiao rubbed his forehead. He had a great reputation, so how could he have such an abused little brother? Luo Ji pouted her lips, looking at Yin Jiao. Goosebumps rose all over her body. My Hades, Ji is more handsome. The clear sound of footsteps resounded in the void. Shortly after, Yuji's eyes fell on you. Yu's pitch-black eyes didn't budge, gazing at the black-armored woman. Boom! Yuji strode forward. When she passed by Bu Fong, she didn't dodge. Her shoulder directly bumped into Bu Fong's shoulder, which made Bu Fong's brows arch. This woman is really domineering. Is she Yu's big sister? Sis, Nethery looked at Yu Chi, and her face couldn't help but shiver. Then, she opened her mouth. Boom! A loud explosion rang out, startling everybody. That heavy sword was fiercely stabbed into the ground, causing cracks to appear on the ground. Yuji held the hilt of the sword, looking at you. She reached out her hand, grabbing Yu's head, pressing it on her voluptuous chest. Little girl, come home with me. I'll take the curse's consequence for you. Her affectionate words, her domineering action, stunned everybody. Bu Fong was a little bewildered. For a moment, he didn't move. All of a sudden, Yuji, who was hugging you, frowned. She lifted her head, looking at the sky. There was a naked child with a pair of pure white wings flapping its wings. What are you looking at? Yuji's voice was cold. A moment later, she pulled out the overbearing, hefty sword from the ground, throwing it at the child in the sky. Swoosh! The illusionary void seemed to shatter. The child couldn't dodge, and the sword cut him into 2 halves. Thud! The 2 halves of the child fell on the ground, turning into some kind of fruit. A fragrant juice oozed out of the fruit. The entire place was dead silent once more. Oh, my baby, you're so handsome. Yin Jiao wiped the blood from his nose, his eyes mesmerized. Little girl, don't be afraid. It's just my occupational disease. I hate people peeping at me the most. Actually, I'm very gentle. Lifting Yu's head, Yuji looked at you, speaking seriously. Then, she pressed Yu's head back to her chest. On the Netherworld ship, the Black Dragon King, who was guarding the sleeping Hua, looked at the domineering and violent Yuji, his mouth twitching. He was wondering why you were so violent. It turned out that it was because of the violent genes in your bones. You have an even more violent sister. After a long time, Yuji finally let go of you, turning her head to look around. Finally, her gaze landed on Bu Fong. You the chef who said you could suppress the little girl's curse? Bu Fong was bewildered. Looking around, he nodded. If you're not asking about someone else, then it's me. Very good. The corners of Yuji's mouth rose. In the next instant, she wielded the overbearing, hefty sword, creating a gust of wind. The tip of the sword pointed at Bu Fong. Since it's like this, you should go back to Earth Prison with my sister. Heaven Chief Realm, top floor, Heaven Tree Canopy, in front of the wooden house. The atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. My, my little brother, ginseng fruit. That damn violent woman. The golden-haired man covered his face mournful. Yaya was a little speechless. Go, go, go. Let's go. I want to reason with that woman. Why did she kill my little brother, ginseng fruit? The golden-haired man's tears flowed, his face mournful. Yaya was bewildered. In the next instant, the golden-haired man's figure flashed, appearing at the edge of the canopy. Swish! The wind blew, blowing the golden-haired man's hair. The wind is really cool. I can feel my heart throbbing. This is the art of nudity, the golden-haired man said, infatuated. In the next moment, under Yaya's wide-eyed gaze, he leaped down. Hugging his knees, his naked body was like a small, blazing sun, blooming with divine light. His body turned 360 times, falling straight down. Oh my God, my realm lord, you can't go down like this. Yaya's face changed dramatically. Tears were about to roll down her mature face. Her figure flashed, grabbing her long robe. Her mature and plump body swayed, following him. Chapter 10:11. Boom! Frightening sword chi shot out from the tip of the sword, scattering in all directions, cutting the ground into pieces. The tip of the sword pointed at Bufong, its aura majestic. Go to Earth prison together. Bufong looked at Yu Chi, who looked a little like Yu Ji. He couldn't help but furrow his brows. He would go to Earth prison, but not now. Thus, Bufong didn't hesitate. He shook his head. No, it's not time to go to Earth prison. Do you think you had the right to choose? Yu Ji didn't think that Bufong would reject her. She narrowed her eyes. I don't need to choose. As long as you stay in my restaurant, the curse will be suppressed. But if you want to go to Earth prison with you, forget it. A forced melon won't be sweet. Bufong shook his head. He didn't want to waste time with that woman. His mind flickered. He put away the black turtle constellation walk. Boom! Yu Ji's eyes focused. A moment later, her body shot out. The heavy sword tore the void, stabbing unceasingly at Bufong. As the sword stabbed forward, a terrifying pressure immediately swept through the entire sky. Swoosh! As the heavy sword passed by, the void collapsed and shattered. It seemed that this sword wanted to kill Bufong. Bufong clasped his hands, his vermilion robe fluttering. His face was indifferent as he looked at the heavy sword that was getting bigger and bigger in front of him. The surrounding people let out cries of surprise. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Gong Shuban, Xianyuan Xiaohui, and the others' eyes shrank. Was Honorbu going to die here? Was he going to die under that woman's sword? Jin Jiao, Yin Jiao, and the others watched. Yu's eyes shrank, showing that she couldn't bear to watch. Sister Nethery's murderous aura shot out. The terrifying murderous aura filled the sky, as if it wanted to shatter the entire void. It was like facing a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Far from them, Lord Go yawned, his head on the ground. He stuck out his tongue, licking his lips. His eyes were contemplative. Voila! A gale swept across. Bufong's vermilion robe fluttered. The pitch-black heavy sword stopped in front of Bufong, stopping less than an inch away from Bufong's body. It didn't advance any further. Even Bufong, whose face was expressionless, was taken aback. He gave the woman a puzzled look. You have guts. Boom! Yu Chi smashed the heavy sword on the ground and looked at Bufong with satisfaction. You can remain calm in front of my sword. Not bad. Yu Chi, have never forced anyone. Since you're unwilling, then let's not go to hell. My sister believes in you, so I believe in you as well. I hope that you can really suppress my sister's curse. Yu Chi said. Bufong was a little stunned. This woman seemed to have changed her attitude a little too quickly. Just a moment ago, he was brimming with killing intent, but now he was all smiles. He must be sick in the head. However, if you can't suppress the curse in my sister's body, when the time comes, my sword will definitely crush you to pieces. Yu Chi said. In the distance, Jin Jiao frowned. Did Yu Chi give up? She didn't want to bring the Netherworld woman back to hell? Oh, my baby, you're so considerate. So cute, said Yin Jiao. Luo Ji, stood up from the ground. She shouldered the death god's scythe and patted the dust off her body. You really won't bring her back? How will Sering Long respond? Luo Ji looked at Yu Qi, asking, how should I respond? Yu Qi, don't need to explain to others. Yu Qi said. Luo Ji pouted her lips. Here it comes again. If Sering Long thinks that I didn't handle it well, let him come. Yu Qi, am not afraid of fighting him. Holding the overbearing heavy sword, Yu Qi said with a strong fighting will. Not bad, little girl. Lord Go favors you a lot. Hearing Yu Qi, Lord Go was very satisfied. Yu Qi was bewildered. She turned to look at Lord Go, who was lying on the ground in the distance. Her eyes focused. At first glance, she recognized Lord Go. It's you, sir. Yu Qi said respectfully. Lord Go, I have to say something. That kid Buffon's cooking is really special. He can subdue Nethery's curse. If you believe Lord Go, you should keep Nethery with that kid Buffon. If you don't believe me, do as you please. Lord Go said. However, as soon as Lord Go's voice faded, Yu Qi swung the overbearing heavy sword, making her decision. You don't need to say anything else. Since Lord Go has said so, that little girl, you should stay. Believe in Lord Go, and you will have eternal life. Roar. Yu Qi swung the overbearing heavy sword toward the sky. Yu and Bufong were bewildered. Jin Jiao covered his face, while Yin Jiao looked at him lovingly. Luo Ji's eyes sparkled. She swung the death god's scythe, adding, believe in Lord Go, and you will have eternal life. What the hell did this fat dog do? Could it be that its paws made these two women stupid? Believe in Lord Go, and you will have eternal life. Oh, not bad. Lord Go likes it. Lord Go's head touched the ground, the corners of his mouth rising. All of a sudden, Lord Go's head, which was on the ground, lifted up, looking at the sky. There was a loud explosion. Thick black clouds gathered in the sky. Thick black clouds swept across the sky, seemingly covering the entire vault of heaven. A depressing atmosphere filled the entire area. What's going on? Everybody was bewildered. Jin Jiao, Yin Jiao, Luo Ji, and Yu Qi lifted their heads to look at the sky, their eyes solemn. It seemed something terrifying was about to descend from the sky. So strong. This aura. Yu Qi held the overbearing hefty sword, her eyes solemn. Jin Jiao waved his hand. Instantly, the massive gold gourd flew into Yin Jiao's hand. Yin Jiao held the gold gourd, squinting at the void. Boom, boom, boom. A loud explosion echoed, as if something had been smashed. Then, the crowd saw a giant hole in the sky. Black clouds rolled, revolving around that hole, turning into a massive vortex. This scene was really shocking. The bodies of Xinyuan Xiaohui and the others trembled. Could it be that another terrifying existence was about to descend? Buzz's strange energy waves diffused. A moment later, from that pitch-black hole, a jet of gold light emerged. The gold light was like a meteor shooting out of the hole, dashing toward the ground. Boom! The tremendous speed created a terrifying friction. In front of that gold light, there was a burning flame. A jet of gold light streaked across the sky. Everybody's eyes were dazzled. A moment later, their eyes shrank. The reason for that was because they discovered that the golden light had actually stopped in midair. A figure hugged his knees, spinning unceasingly in the sky. Behind him were towering black clouds, divine light diffusing from his body. The way he appeared was so different. Boom! That figure landed on the ground. The ground exploded. The dark clouds in the sky scattered, revealing a clear, bright light. Oh, to feel the art of nudity, it's a kind of shock that goes straight to the soul. Hello, everyone. Your beloved Lord Dit has arrived. His golden hair fluttered, as if it had golden sparks. His skin was white, and his body was slender. Everybody gawked, dropping their jaws. His lower body was dazzling and dazzling. Descending from the sky. A pervert? Everybody was bewildered. A clown who came out naked? The man looked at their dumbfounded faces, feeling satisfied. He felt that they were intoxicated in his nude art and couldn't pull themselves out. Thus, the man changed his posture. He covered his lower body with one hand and supported his forehead with the other, revealing his exquisite curves. Your appreciation makes Lord Dit very happy. For all of you, Lord Dit will work hard to be himself. Boom! As soon as the man's voice fell, a dog's paw condensed in the void. The dog's paw slapped out. A loud explosion rang out. The word self was still echoing in the air, but he had already flown off to God knows where. The sound of explosions kept ringing out in the void. It was clear that the dog's paw was extremely powerful. Everybody was stunned again, looking at Lord Go in a daze. Oh, this pervert is still the same. Lord Go feels uncomfortable seeing him like this. I really can't help it. Lord Go's gentle and magnetic voice resounded in the void. Everybody's mouth twitched, Bufong's face stiffened. He looked at the figure that Lord Go had slapped away. The moment that figure appeared, Bufong's mind trembled. That strange feeling lingered in Bufong's mind. That pervert. Who is he after all? Bufong asked skeptically. Boom. Far from them, a jet of gold light shot out one more time. A moment later, it roared and reappeared in front of everybody. His body was still naked, and his golden hair was still flowing in the wind. Who is it? Don't hit people's faces. Don't you know the rule? The golden-haired man had a dog's paw print on his face. His brows arched, panting with rage. This time, everyone came back to their senses. In the next moment, the expressions on everyone's faces were very interesting. Jin Jiao, Yin Jiao, Yu Ji, Luo Ji, and the others wore odd faces. Of course, they recognized the man in front of them, the famous, perverted realm lord of the Heaven Chief realm. Gongshu Ban and the others didn't know him, but they couldn't help but spit at his perverted behavior. Realm Lord Dit's eyes moved, landing on Lord Go, who was raising his dog paw. He narrowed his eyes. Lord Go also narrowed his eyes. Their eyes met in the void. A moment later, one man and one dog took in a breath of cold air. You. Realm Lord Dit's nostrils flared, glaring at Lord Go. The void distorted, and a graceful and fiery figure walked out of it. Swish, her long robe fluttered, covering Realm Lord Dit's body. The dazzling, naked body instantly disappeared. Realm Lord, Your Highness. Yes, it's that dog. Yaya begrudgingly interrupted Realm Lord Dit's words. Then, this beautiful, mature, and voluptuous woman turned to look at the others, her face showing a warm smile. Guys, I'm so sorry. I made a fool of myself. Please forget what happened just now. It was just an illusion. As soon as the woman's voice faded, Realm Lord Ditai, who was wrapped in a white brocade robe, roared at the top of his voice. What the F***CK? I thought you looked familiar. It's you. Spit out the great path for this father. His figure flashed. Realm Lord Dit's figure disappeared. A moment later, he appeared in front of Lord Go. Lord Go twitched the corners of his mouth. His paw patted the ground, and his body soared up into the sky. Realm Lord Dit cursed. In midair, his clothes exploded, revealing his butt. He chased after Lord Go. Everybody gawked, dropping their jaws. Looking at the unceasing explosions in the sky, they were dumbstruck. Up in the sky, the void was constantly collapsing, and from time to time, huge holes would appear. Clearly, the Dit World Overlord and the Lord Go started a huge battle. Below, everyone was dumbfounded, and they didn't know what was going on. Gold Horn, Silver Horn, and the others didn't know why the Heaven Chief Realm Lord would attack Lord Go the moment he appeared. Bufong was not very worried about Lord Go. After all, it was Lord Go. I'm sorry, I let you see such a joke. The Realm Lord's daily madness will be over in a while, the mature and intelligent woman Yaya said with a smile. Suddenly, her beautiful eyes fell on Bufong. Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. Aya, you're that little chef. Yaya twisted her voluptuous waist and appeared in front of Bufong. Her red lips slightly pursed. You're a handsome little brother. His Highness wants to take you as his apprentice. Later on, you'll be my junior brother. Chapter 10-12. Realm Lord? In the distance, Gongshu Ban and the others were dumbstruck. Their eyes widened, filled with disbelief. The Realm Lord of the Heaven Chief Realm was the boss of the bosses. They couldn't even see him in their dreams. He was the only high-grade Qilin chef in the Heaven Chief Realm, the top existence that suppressed the Heaven Chief Realm. He was the idol and goal of all Heaven Chief Realm chiefs. Even at the top of the Heaven Chief Realm, it was hard to see the Realm Lord. However, they had never thought that they could meet the Realm Lord of the Heaven Chief Realm, the one that all Heaven Chief Realm Chief dreamed of meeting in this land of inheritance. Moreover, the first impression the Realm Lord gave them was so unique. That white skin, that slender body, and that lower body that emitted holy light, oh my God. Realm Lord His Highness is a pervert. Gongshu Ban and Xianyuan Xiaohui felt that their faith, which had been built up for so many years, had completely collapsed at this moment. Girl, close your eyes. Gongshu Ban seemed to remember something. He hurriedly raised his hand, covering Gongshu Yun's eyes. She was just a kid. She shouldn't look at such an eyesore. To this, Gongshu Yun refused. To be able to admire the Realm Lord's majestic figure, what an honor it was. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, explosions reverberated unceasingly. Terrifying explosions reverberated unceasingly. One by one, the cracks in the void began to spread. Apparently, a great battle was happening high up in the sky. The wind blew. It swept up the dust on the ground. Swish! Her golden hair cascaded like a waterfall, which was too beautiful to behold. Sparkling light seemed to move on her hair. This caused Yaya's beautiful face to become even more alluring and alluring. The surrounding atmosphere was a little stiff. Yaya's words made people a little bewildered. Goldhorn and Yin Jiao exchanged looks, seeing the astonishment in each other's eyes. The Realm Lord of the Heaven Chief, Realm, wanted to take this little chef as his disciple? That's interesting. Luo Ji blinked her beautiful eyes, her gaze turning contemplative. If this little chef becomes the disciple of the immortal cooking realm's Realm Lord, will he also be naked every day? That scene was too beautiful. It was simply unimaginable. Yu Qi's and Yu Qi's eyes became very nervous as they looked at Bufang. Bufang was a little confused. The surrounding gazes made him feel as if all the clothes on his body had been stripped off. What the hell? He hadn't even agreed yet. This group of people only thought that he would strip naked and run around naked. Was he that kind of person? The corner of Bufang's mouth twitched. He calmly looked at the mature woman in front of him. Big sister. Bufang let out a sigh and said, I don't need to become anyone's disciple, and I won't become anyone's junior brother. I am me, a different kind of firework. When Bufang said those words, he was very serious. Thinking that he would be like that perverted realm lord, running around naked, Bufang had enough reasons to reject this request that could make all the Heaven Chief Realm go crazy. Becoming the disciple of the Heaven Chief Realm Lord was the dream of many chefs in the Heaven Chief Realm. Unfortunately, it wasn't Bufang's dream. Gongshu Ban, Xianyuan Xiaohui, and the others took in a breath of cold air. Honorbu had rejected it. He had rejected such a big chance. Even the immortal flame Bufang had obtained in the land of inheritance couldn't be compared to this chance. Worthy of being Honorbu. He's different, indeed, Xianyuan Xiaohui said seriously. Yaya didn't expect it either. As a chef, Bufang had rejected such a good thing. Think about it. Becoming a high-grade Qilin chef's apprentice is enough to prevent you from going astray. Yaya said seriously. This time, she was serious. When one reached the immortal chef realm, each step was extremely difficult. Some people would even be stuck in a bottleneck. Because of a small problem, they would be stuck for hundreds of years, thousands of years, or even a lifetime. At this time, if a great teacher could give them some advice or give them a kick to help them break through the shackles, it would be a very happy thing. Yaya thought that since Bufang could become the Heaven Chief, he should understand this principle. Just like Tong Ruo, to break through to the Qilin chef realm, he didn't hesitate to turn himself into a dish. Because no one had told him how to become a Qilin chef, he didn't hesitate to turn himself into a dish. One wrong step would lead to many more wrong steps. Even the Heaven Chief couldn't bear the price of making a mistake. Astray, Bufong clasped his hands, his striped red and white vermilion robe fluttering. Even if it's an astray path, I will overcome all the obstacles to reach the peak. Because I'm the man who wants to become the god of cooking. Bufong's face was emotionless as he said seriously. As soon as he said that, the atmosphere became a little awkward. Everybody looked at Bufong, not knowing what to say. It turned out that Owner Bu, who was as calm as still water, was also an ambitious person. He was actually someone who could say such shameless words. You little fellow, you're really arrogant. Even the realm Lord His Highness doesn't dare to think about becoming the god of cooking. You're just a little chef who has just become the Heaven Chief. Where does your confidence come from? Yaya's red lips curved into a mocking smile. It was a kind sneer because she thought that Bufong had overestimated himself. The Heaven Chief was divided into 3 grades. Above the 3rd grade Heaven Chief was the Qilin Chef, which was divided into low-grade Qilin Chef and high-grade Qilin Chef. The high-grade Qilin Chef was also called the high-grade Qilin Chef. The gap between each grade was like a chasm between heaven and earth. It was really hard to break through. Without help or talent, it was really hard to advance further. What did Bufong have to say such arrogant words? All of a sudden, Yaya was a little surprised. She suddenly remembered what the Realm Lord Dit had told her about the Heart of Cooking path. The Realm Lord Dit had said that this little chef in front of her had a high chance to condense the Heart of Cooking path. The Heart of Cooking path was the key to becoming a Qilin chef. Only chefs who were very confident in their cooking skills could condense the Heart of Cooking path. Thinking about that, Yaya suddenly felt that Bufong's arrogance also had a reason. TSK. What a pity. Such a handsome little junior brother is gone. I feel a little sad, Yaya said with a smile. Boom. In the sky, a loud explosion resounded, and the entire sky seemed to be torn apart. A jet of gold light and a jet of black light fell from the void, eventually hitting the ground. The ground was about to collapse. Smoke and dust rose from the ruins and dispersed. Then, people could see the scene on the ground clearly. A black dog with shiny fur opened its mouth wide and yawned. Lying in the deep pit, it looked at the golden light in the distance with a playful expression. The gold light dispersed. It was still so dazzling. The naked Realm Lord Dit's body was shivering. He was so angry that he shivered. The Realm Lord Dit held a handful of dog fur in his hand, gritting his teeth in anger. His whole face was bruised and swollen. His chest was full of dog paw prints, which made him look really funny. On his white, but there was blood flowing down from the claw marks formed by the dog's paws. In this battle, it seemed Lord Go had won. Worthy of being the dog that bit the great path. His power has become stronger. The Realm Lord Dit flipped his elegant golden hair, saying, Wulsh *T. Lord Go, my cultivation base has always been stronger than yours, okay? If you don't use those kitchenware, will Lord Go spank your butt until it blossoms? The Lord Go, who was lying on the ground, pouted his lips, saying disdainfully, The great path would never spit it out. How could it spit out something that had been digested? The Realm Lord Dit had ended the battle because of this reason. After all, this kind of meaningless battle was just a waste of time. Who asked him to deal with this dog? He snorted arrogantly. The Realm Lord Dit lifted his head, striding with vigorous steps. His figure flashed, appearing at his original position. Woman, why did you cut off my little brother? The Realm Lord Dit glared, remembering the main reason why he came to this world. He looked at Yu Chi, who was holding the big sword, saying, Yu Chi was bewildered, and the people around were also bewildered. Yaya speechlessly rubbed her forehead, feeling that she had such a realm lord. It was really embarrassing to death. My overbearing, hefty sword never cuts that kind of filthy thing. Don't slander me. Be careful, or I will risk my life against you. The corners of Yu Chi's mouth twitched. Her eyes swept around, looking at the lower part of the Realm Lord Dit, which was glowing with holy light, revealing a meaningful smile. Swish! Yaya hurried to take out a long robe, covering the realm lord did. Filthy? You dare to say that this realm lord's little brother is filthy? This woman, you should be dragged out and braised. The realm lord Dit was enraged. Not only did she cut his little brother, but she also said that it was filthy. He had never seen such a shameless existence in this world. The realm lord is indeed the realm lord. His way of speaking is so different. Gong Shuban and the others were amazed. The others would drag him out and behead him, but the realm lord actually said to drag him out and braise him, worthy of being a high-grade Chilean chef. His understanding was really high. Realm Lord Dit felt that he couldn't do anything to Yu Chi, who was like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. Eventually, his eyes turned to Bufong. Realm Lord, Your Highness, you don't need to ask. This little chef has used a very serious attitude to reject your request to accept him as a disciple. Yaya said. The realm Lord Dit, who was wrapped in the long robe, was bewildered. His blonde hair swayed. Is it shameful to be this realm lord's disciple? Dit roared in dissatisfaction. Yaya didn't say anything, but Bufong did. Bufong solemnly rejected the realm lord's good intention to accept him as a disciple. Dit was bewildered. His body flashed, facing Bufong, looking at Bufong's eyes. Look at me. Don't you want to feel the profound naked? Ah, no, the art of cooking? The realm lord Dit said seriously. Remembering that if he agreed to the realm lord Dit's request, he would have to cook naked in the future, Bufong didn't hesitate to reject again. The realm lord Dit was bewildered. Turns out the feeling of being rejected is so sad. The realm lord Dit's eyes were filled with tears. Boom! Rumble! Cracks began to appear in the sky. The entire space of a land of inheritance seemed to be overwhelmed. Loud rumbling sounds echoed and explosions. The sky was torn apart, and the space cracks were everywhere. Everybody felt their bodies shaking. The ground under their feet started to crumble. This land of inheritance is going to collapse. Looks like we have to go out and talk. The realm lord Dit said. His eyes scanned Bufong. After wearing a long robe, he became more serious. His body radiated an aura that belonged to a world overlord. Rumble. The lotus land of inheritance began to collapse. The ground cracked, falling into the endless void. Jin Jiao and Yin Jiao exchanged looks. They felt that it was time for them to leave. Although he wasn't able to bring the Netherworld woman back, at least he was able to bring Nether King Erha back. His mission could be considered completed. Bufong stood on the Netherworld ship. Nether energy revolved around the Netherworld ship. With a loud rumble, the ship shot out, dodging the falling rocks and dashing into the void crack. The first layer of the Heaven Chief realm, outside the immortal city, the void was torn apart. Then a pitch-black Netherworld ship, which emitted endless waves of energy, flew out. It paused in the air. The immortal city in the distance was incomparably majestic. Bufong stood on the Netherworld ship, exhaling deeply. It's over. Bufong's eyes were blurry. He opened his mouth, spitting out a wisp of flame. That golden flame entered Bufong's finger, dancing on it, releasing extreme light and heat. Oh, the golden lotus demonic flame has strengthened a lot. Kid, you actually subdued this flame. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Just as Bufong was sighing with emotion, behind the Netherworld ship, figures emerged one after another. The first to bear the brunt was Realm Lord Diha's curious gaze and his curled lips. Chapter 10:13. This news was like a nightmare that had spread throughout the entire immortal city. Among them, Bufong saw many familiar faces. Big Sister, Luo Ji, widened her eyes. Her pink hair seemed to be about to explode. Are you calling Luo Ji? Gongshu Baiguang want to go too. How could the Heaven Chief realm have such a perverted realm lord? They wanted to force him to contact the realm lord, but Tong Wudi's words couldn't be wrong. Bufong squinted, looking ahead. An even more majestic expert wearing a long robe walked out. The family heads of the aristocratic families were dumbstruck, dropping their jaws. Mu Yang looked at the naked figure, and his body suddenly trembled. His expression was as if he was shivering in fear. Why didn't he go back to Earth Prison? The worry in his eyes disappeared completely at this moment. A group of people landed, preparing to enter the immortal city through the city gate. The Heaven Chiefs team that had entered had countless casualties. Almost all of them were wiped out. Why is our family's immortal chef dead? But that mortal chef is still alive. And why did that dog come out of the land of inheritance? Is it all because of that black dog? That mortal chef wanted to swallow all the opportunities in the land of inheritance. That's why he asked that black dog to kill our Heaven Chief. The crowd parted, but Tong Wudi didn't know. Luo Ji's mouth twitched. City Lord. This black dog is the one who was wanted by the entire immortal cooking realm back then. City Lord, please contact the Supreme Realm Lord to punish this black dog. Capture that black dog and bring it to justice. In the distance, the illusionary void twisted, and a fat black dog walked out with elegant cat-like steps. The corners of his mouth twitched as he understood the whole story. Disdainfully, the corners of his mouth twitched. Mu Yang's face was solemn. Luo Ji blinked, her soft red lips parting as she said with a smile. Did she want to instigate this group of people to deal with the Lord Go? Of course, there were more important reasons. In the distance, I'm afraid he's afraid of you. The realm lord he had asked for was here. My lord, the ruins were destroyed, and countless Heaven Chief perished. How could these people walk out alive? My lord, please uphold justice for us. His figure flashed, pushing away Bu Fong and appearing in front of Luo Ji. Yaya's gaze suddenly became sharp. The Zhang family and the other family heads also followed behind Tong Wudi and bowed to Mu Yang. Lord Go mumbled. This was truly a little difficult to handle. Then, under Yu's control, the Netherworld ship flew toward the immortal city in the first layer of the Heaven Chief realm. There was no doubt that Tong Wudi was trying to force the palace to abdicate. There was a tearing noise. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. I have to see with my own eyes that your dish can suppress that little girl's curse. Then I can leave. Otherwise, I will bring that little girl back to Earth Prison, Yu Ji said seriously, carrying a giant, overbearing, hefty sword. Without a doubt, this incident was caused by the Tong family head. The Tong family had a grudge against Bu Fong, but they were afraid of the Lord Go. Now, they had a chance to tie the Lord Go up. At the very least, they could force the Lord Go to run away. Father, not only the Zhang family head, but many other family heads of the smaller families were also grieving. He was wrapped in a long robe, and his entire being became incomparably solemn. As the Realm Lord, he was the focus of everyone's attention. Mu Luer also saw Bu Fong, blinking at Bu Fong. Yu Ji said casually. Bu Fong was speechless. This little chef was the talented mortal Heaven Chief that little Luer had mentioned. Everyone's eyes turned, landing on Dit. At least, Era wouldn't be like Realm Lord Dit, who chose to run around naked. That was really an eyesore. No matter how handsome Realm Lord Dit was, it was still an eyesore. Realm Lord Dit raised his head with a dazed face, looking at City Lord Mu Yang. Even a small mountain peak was smashed and collapsed. Rude. Vulgar. Father, don't get involved. Gong Shu Baiguang felt a burst of joy in his heart. Please enjoy this Realm Lord's nude art. Mu Yang's eyes turned heavy, landing on Bu Fong. Beside that expert were a few young children. Don't worry. How could this Realm Lord be that kind of person? Realm Lord Dit's brows slightly arched, revealing a meaningful smile. A dog paw appeared out of thin air, directly smashing the naked Realm Lord Dit, who was stroking his hair in front of Luo Ji, to the ground. The illusionary void shattered inch by inch. Who are you calling big sister? Yaya's eyes seemed to have lightning shooting out. Of course, among them, there were a few existences whose auras weren't any weaker than the Tong family's head. Gongshu Ban said seriously, Big sister. Of course, I want to wait for my baby to go back. However, as soon as she moved, Gongshu Ban pulled her back. Bu Fong looked at the naked Realm Lord Dit. He really hated that he couldn't hit his head with the Black Turtle constellation walk. So annoying. Those people's eyes froze, staring at the crowd. The ground shook, and a huge human-shaped hole appeared. The surrounding atmosphere became stagnant at this moment. It seemed nothing was different. The water bubble that enveloped Xianyuan Xiaohui and the others immediately burst open, and water flowed out with a splash. Yaya was speechless, rubbing her forehead. All of a sudden, this time, when a land of inheritance collapsed, the news that the Heaven Chief realm suffered heavy casualties had alarmed the city lord and all the aristocratic families in Immortal City. Each of them widened their eyes, their faces filled with astonishment. Bufang found that he knew one of them. It was Mu Luer, who had helped him a lot. Luo Ji's eyes brightened. Lord Go was a little bewildered. All right, don't you want your idol's dog fur? This Realm Lord can give you as much as you want. When Realm Lord Dit heard Luo Ji's small request, his eyes brightened. Realm Lord Dit's slender naked body was exposed in the air. The holy light on his lower body was extremely dazzling. Everyone wanted to know what kind of request it would make. Jin Jiao, Yin Jiao, Yu Ji, and Luo Ji appeared, their bodies wrapped in thick nether energy. The illusionary void there was torn again, and figures stepped out of it. The long robe on Realm Lord Dit's body instantly shattered. He looked at them as though he was watching a joke. Yaya moved her slender legs, her waist-length blonde hair moving charmingly toward Luo Ji. Luo Ji was bewildered. She turned her head suspiciously, looking at Realm Lord Dit. Just as Bufang was about to reply to Realm Lord Dit, Mu Yang raised his hand, catching a petal. Mu Yang stretched out his hand and caught a petal. He had a dumbfounded look on his face. How could a petal fall? I'm waiting for my little brother. We'll go back together. Jin Jiao thought for a while. Then he raised his fan-like palm, patting on Yin Jiao's head. Yin Jiao staggered. As soon as they appeared, the air around them became sharp. The Zhang family's head wore a mournful face. The Zhang family head had a mournful look on his face. His son had died in this disaster, and this made his heart ache. Speaking of handsomeness, he could compete with Hades' era. Gongshu Ban didn't have a good impression of the Tong family. He seemed to hear Luo Ji bad-mouthing her. What request? Bufang was bewildered. However, at that time, without the Lord Go's protection, Bufang could only be bullied by the Tong family. Yaya walked out of the illusionary void. Massive water bubbles floated around her. Xianyuan Xiaohui, Gongshu Ban, and the others were wrapped inside. Bufang was a little skeptical. He didn't understand why these people wanted to do that. Wait a minute. This lady doesn't accept unreasonable requests. Luo Ji suddenly recalled something. She became vigilant, gazing at Realm Lord Dit. However, Bufang felt that Era was more reliable than this Realm Lord Dit. Shortly after, a large group of people flew out of the Immortal City. Luo Ji shouldered the Death God's scythe, speaking righteously. Shortly after, the Immortal City's gate appeared in their sight. He had never imagined that this trip to the land of inheritance, which was supposed to be a chance, would become a deadly Acheron's road. It hurts my eyes. As soon as I come out, I see this pervert. They had just landed. Luo Ji glanced behind Bufang, but she didn't see the Lord Go's figure. Instantly, she became anxious. Bufang and the others were wrong. His body was naked, and his lower body bloomed with holy light. This realm lord only has one small request. That is, I want my idol's dog hair, not your chest hair. Do you have my idol's dog hair? The corner of Bufang's mouth twitched. His gaze turned to Luo Ji. Realm Lord Dit instantly waved his hand, interrupting Luo Ji's and Yaya's gazes in the air. Realm Lord Dit was a little bewildered. Otherwise, Realm Lord Dit was dumbstruck. What had happened? Why was he here? Why was he between the two girls? According to the news, the land of inheritance that had just been opened had completely collapsed, becoming an empty wasteland. Women seemed to be naturally sensitive to titles. I just wanted to see my idol one more time. I also have a small request for my idol, Bufang nodded. His gaze shifted, falling on Jin Jiao. As soon as he finished, a figure slowly descended from the sky, one hand on his head and the other on his waist. Seeing the Lord Go come out, Bufang exhaled in relief. Where's my idol? Where's my idol? Boom, boom. Since Jin Jiao and Yin Jiao had their reasons for not returning, what was Luo Ji's reason? The Lord Go was lying on the Netherworld ship. I'm sorry. During the battle earlier, I poked your idols, but the corners of realm Lord Dit's mouth twitched. This ignorant girl. On the Netherworld ship, you was a little dazed. She didn't understand why these people were still here. Glancing, she saw the handsome face of the realm Lord Dit. His golden hair cascaded down, and his skin was smooth and white. He was really handsome. Bufang coldly watched everything. He could only see pink petals falling from the sky and swaying in the air. Everybody was speechless, twitching the corners of their mouths. Rumble. He cupped his fist respectfully, bending his waist. His face was solemn and mournful. The sudden voice startled Bufang. Moreover, Tong Wudi would never have thought that the realm lord he respected was actually a freak. What did this fellow mean? A surging army rushed out of the city gate and surrounded them. Xianyuan Xiaohui and the others instantly felt as though they had seen the light of day again. One of them was the head of the Tong family. Yin Jiao pursed his lips, narrowing his eyes. He moved closer to Yu Qi, his face full of smiles. However, this trip to the land of inheritance had really tired him out. He would lie down for a while first. However, in the next instant, the wind howled. Tong Wudi's face was extremely mournful. His figure flashed, appearing in front of City Lord Muyang. In the next instant, obviously, the person beside Mu Luer should be the city lord of the first layer of the Heaven Chief boundary, Muyang. The Tong family's head, Tong Wudi, had a gloomy face. He coldly stared at the distant Bufang and the chubby Lord Go floating beside Bufang. Rumble. Good. However, you have to agree to a request of this realm lord first. Realm Lord Dit said seriously. They were frightened as they looked at the mature woman, full of charm, as though they were looking at a demon. That bubble wasn't a place where people could stay. Yin Jiao rolled his eyes at his big brother, snorting. The perverted realm lord of the Heaven Chief boundary lived up to his reputation. Do you think I'm as old as that big sister next to you? Please call me little sister Luo Ji. Gongs and drums sounded, and firecrackers exploded. Yu Qi expressionlessly waved her heavy sword and slapped it on Silverhorn's face. Silverhorn was sent flying and smashed into the distance. Mu Yang was a little bewildered. Luo Ji said shyly, "It should be known that the inheritance in the land of inheritance that had almost killed him was done by Tong Ruo of the Tong family." "Then give it to me quickly. I heard that someone is calling me. I want to find my idol and ask for a strand of dog fur." Gongshu Ban and Gongshu Yun saw their father, the head of the Gongshu family, Gongshu Baiguang. They couldn't help but wave their arms excitedly. Gongshu Baiguang was a middle-aged man with a long beard. When he heard the call, he lifted his head to see Gongshu Ban and Gongshu Yun. Seeing these people, Bufang was bewildered. Chapter 10:14. As the city lord of the first layer of the Heaven Chief realm, Muyang naturally recognized Realm Lord Dit. There were 5 city lords in the Heaven Chief realm, and each of them was the city lord of each layer. They were all under the jurisdiction of the Dit Realm Lord, so they were naturally familiar with the Dit Realm Lord. However, this naked, perverted man in front of him, was he really the handsome and aloof Realm Lord Ditai he knew? When the city lords reported to the Realm Lord, the Realm Lord Dit Realm Lord was always in a high position. He wore a long robe, and his face was solemn, cold, and mysterious. He was full of the demeanor of an expert. However, at this moment, a naked clown appeared in front of him. "Who the F***CK called you?" This must be the fake Realm Lord Dit. After the surrounding aristocratic family's clan lords recovered from their shock, they also calmed down. At first, they were indeed shocked. After all, a naked person fell from the sky and appeared in front of them. How could they not be shocked? Yaya was speechless, and an awkward expression appeared on her face. Having to deal with such a realm lord, she was also a little tired. Her figure flashed, and a long robe appeared in her hand. The long robe swirled, and in front of the crowd, it wrapped around the figure of the Dit Realm Lord. Then, Yaya pulled the long robe, dragging the figure of the Dit Realm Lord away. The crowd became even more speechless. Why did they meet such a clown? City Lord Muyang was even more surprised. The Realm Lord Dit Realm Lord, wrapped in the long robe, was almost a perfect match with the image in his mind. Could it be this exhibitionist in front of him was really the Realm Lord? Hiss! Hiss! Muyang sucked in a breath of cold air, and the astonishment in his eyes became even more intense. Wait a minute. Why was the Realm Lord here? And he seemed to have a good relationship with that mortal chef. The people from the aristocratic families naturally didn't know the Realm Lord Dit Realm Lord. Regarding the sudden appearance of the naked Dit Realm Lord, they only thought that he was a joke. Maybe he was a lunatic from somewhere. They definitely wouldn't think that this exhibitionist was the Realm Lord of the Heaven Chief Realm. City Lord, please contact the Realm Lord to seek justice for us. The patriarch of the Tong clan, Tong Wudi, said with tears in his eyes. At this moment, the other clan leaders all had tears in their eyes. They were incomparably agitated, wanting Mu Yang to report this to the Realm Lord. Tong Wudi was very clear that if he wanted to deal with this dog, he would have to ask the Realm Lord or the 5 city lords to join hands. Only then would he be able to make this wild dog yield. However, it was out of Tong Wudi Realm Lord. City Lord Mu Yang's body trembled, as if he was trying to suppress his anger. He coldly glanced at Tong Wudi. Entering the ruins is for fortuitous encounters. Fortuitous encounters belong to those who are capable. If they die in the ruins, it can only be attributed to their lack of strength. Do you think that I, the city lord, have to seek justice for every person who dies in the ruins? Mu Yang said coldly. Tong Wudi was bewildered. He didn't think that Mu Yang would say such a thing. Of course, they also knew that it was nothing to die while searching for the ruins. However, with so many aristocratic families' clan lords pressuring him at the same time, City Lord Mu Yang still insisted on protecting this mortal chef. In the distance, Bu Fong calmly looked at this group of people. Regarding what they said, asking the Realm Lord to deal with the Lord Go, Bu Fong naturally didn't care. If that stupid Realm Lord, who liked to walk the dark path, could defeat the Lord Go, then the sweet and sour ribs that the Lord Go had eaten for so many years would be in vain. Moreover, the Realm Lord was there. Gongshu Baiguang was held back by his children, so he didn't join the ranks of these aristocratic families' clan lords. He didn't shout to the city lord and ask the Realm Lord to help. According to Gongshu Ban's words, Gongshu Baiguang narrowed his eyes. He looked at Bu Fong's direction, then at the city lord's direction. In the end, he seemed to understand something, so he didn't say anything more. Jin Jiao carried his huge metal fan, the corners of his mouth curling into a devilish smile. Looking at this group of people, his face seemed to reveal an impatient expression. However, he didn't kill them. After all, this place was the Heaven Chief Realm, not Earth Prison. With his hot temper, being surrounded by such a group of people, he would have already slapped them with his fan, turning the sky and earth upside down. None of the city lords of the immortal city was weaker than him. If he really attacked them here, he would fall into their encirclement. Then he would really fail miserably. Anyway, this group of people didn't want to attack him, but that arrogant little chef. Just in time to see this chef's ability. However, Bu Fong didn't intend to show his ability. He clasped his hands, slowly moving forward. His vermilion robe fluttered. The netherworld ship floated behind him, with the Lord Go lying on it. Bu Fong continued to move forward. The people from the aristocratic families originally wanted to stop him, but they were shocked to discover a terrifying pressure. This pressure made them unconsciously make way for him. With the Lord Go here, they didn't dare to be presumptuous. They could only watch as Bu Fong walked away from the crowd. Tong Wudi's face was a little dark, staring at the emotionless Bu Fong, who had just stepped into the immortal city. He gritted his teeth. Originally, they had gathered the power of so many aristocratic family heads to chase the black dog away. At that time, they would be able to do whatever they wanted to the little restaurant. What a pity! Under the pressure of so many people, the city lord still didn't choose to contact the realm lord. It seemed they had to discuss the plan again. The city lord was so useless. How about changing to another city lord? The Mu family was past its prime. It was time for another family to take over the position of city lord. The eyes of Tong Wudi and the other family heads of the aristocratic family sparkled. A group of people entered the immortal city. The realm lord Dit was wrapped in a long robe. Because Yaya was by his side, he didn't choose to explode the robe on his body. Instead, he curiously looked around. Although he was the realm lord of the Heaven Chief realm and was in charge of the entire Heaven Chief realm, he rarely walked in the immortal city. Because the city lord was in charge of the immortal city, the realm lord usually stayed in his wooden house to cultivate and practice his culinary skills. Even if he walked out of his wooden house, he would go to the immortal city at the highest level. It was his first time seeing the immortal city at the first level. He couldn't deny that compared to the Heaven Chief realm at the highest level, the overall culinary skills were lower. Moreover, the aroma of the dishes in the air wasn't as rich as the Heaven Chief realm at the highest level. It was no wonder that in recent years, some monstrous Heaven Chief were born in the top and middle levels. Basically, there wouldn't be any monstrous Heaven Chief in the immortal city. The group didn't stay in the immortal city for too long. Very quickly, they followed Bu Fong's footsteps and arrived at the entrance of the Heaven Chief restaurant. This is the little chef's restaurant. The realm lord Dit looked at the small restaurant, his expression instantly becoming incomparably strange and comical. The corner of Yaya's mouth also twitched. With such a broken restaurant, why would Bu Fong reject the realm lord's request to be his apprentice? Once Bu Fong agreed to be the realm lord apprentice, he would immediately be able to obtain a huge restaurant at the top level of the Heaven Chief realm. This was the right of every realm lord's apprentice. For example, Yaya, she had an extremely large restaurant in the immortal city at the top level of the Heaven Chief realm. Of course, because she had to stay by the realm master's side, the restaurant's business was basically in a closed state. However, if Yaya had free time, she would occasionally return to the restaurant to practice her cooking skills. After all, to a Heaven Chief, having a good restaurant was a kind of belonging, a kind of glory. Bu Fong calmly glanced at the realm lord Dit. The corner of his mouth twitched. No matter how small the restaurant was, it still depended on the chef. A small restaurant could also create a big miracle. Swish! The restaurant's door was pushed open. The Lord Go's figure dashed out, entering the restaurant, finding a corner to lie down. The Black Dragon King carried Hua's sleeping figure, striding in, placing Hua beside the Lord Go. After eating Hua, she could speak. However, the evolution required too much energy. At this moment, this little girl was lying beside the Lord Go, sleeping soundly. When she wakes up again, there should be a different surprise. Come in. Bu Fong's eyes fell on Yu, speaking casually. Yu wanted to see if his dishes could suppress the curse on you. Of course, Bu Fong wouldn't let her down. Yu shouldered the overbearing hefty sword, looking at Bu Fong, then nodded. A moment later, Yu and the others entered the restaurant. Yaya and the realm lord Dit stood outside, hesitating whether they should go in or not. Yaya frowned, looking at the narrow restaurant, taking a deep breath. Realm lord, your highness, with your identity, this kind of small restaurant doesn't have the qualifications to let you enter. Let's go back, Yaya said. The realm lord Dit was the only high-grade Qilin chef in the Heaven Chief realm. He was the idol of all chefs. This narrow restaurant didn't deserve the realm lord Dit's identity. Why should we go back? That mangy dog is in this restaurant. I have to keep an eye on him. The realm lord Dit flicked his hair, then raised 2 fingers, pointing at his eyes. Then, he pointed at the Lord Go, grinning. This realm lord has a lot of things for you to deal with. You should go back to the wooden house. Dit said. Yaya was bewildered. A moment later, the realm lord Dit reached out a finger, gently touching Yaya's fair forehead. Yaya found that the scene in front of her started to change. When she woke up, she was already in the wooden house. Inside the wooden house, many jade slips were floating, glowing faintly like the starry sky. Each jade slip recorded what had happened in the Heaven Chief realm, as well as the things that needed to be solved. Yaya helplessly rubbed her forehead. She knew that reading these jade slips would become her task again. Who asked their realm lord to be so unreliable? After sending off Yaya, the realm lord Dit's mouth twitched. Wearing his long robe, he slowly walked forward, raising his head as he stepped into the narrow restaurant. As soon as he stepped in, the realm lord Dit felt like he had been electrocuted. His eyes were filled with disbelief. This restaurant, this aura. Bufong stepped into the kitchen. Congratulations to the host for getting an immortal flame. You have passed the true immortal realm test. If you pass, you will become a 1-star true immortal realm expert, and your mental force will be enhanced. The system's serious voice echoed the moment Bufong stepped into the kitchen. Bufong stood at his spot, squinting. Accept the test. Bufong didn't hesitate, agreeing to the test. He was about to cook to tell you that he could suppress her curse, so he could do it at the same time as the test. Buzz, after Bufong confirmed his agreement, his mind shivered. In front of him, a dazzling brilliance emerged and condensed into a formation. On the stove, the magic array moved and the light gradually disappeared. Finally, in the middle of the magic array was a duck with 7 colored feathers. Test dish, secret recipe roast duck. The system's assessment is high grade, which means you've passed the test. The system's serious voice arose once again. Bufong's eyes narrowed slightly as he exhaled. His eyes fell on the duck with 7 colored feathers, squinting. Should he cook? Roast duck. Chapter 10:15. The system gave him a duck as an ingredient. Did it want him to cook a roast duck? Bufong was a little confused. Looking at the 7-colored duck, Bufong blinked. The ingredients the system gave him were getting weirder and weirder. A 7-colored duck. Did its meat also have 7 colored colors? The duck lay on the stove, twisting its long neck. It opened its long mouth and let out a hoarse cry. As it cried, thick essence, energy, and immortal energy came out of its mouth. Huh. At this moment, Bufong realized that this duck was not ordinary. He reached out and grabbed the duck's neck, lifting it up. The duck immediately opened its beak, flapped its wings, and swung them around. Thick essence, energy, and immortal energy came out of its mouth. The system knows that I want to cook for you, sister, so it specially picked this duck that exudes essence, energy. Actually, according to Bufong's understanding, the curse on you could be suppressed with dishes with thick essence energy. Just like the dragon blood rice, the ingredients used were all very thick essence energy. The 7-colored sky mending duck lives in nether prison. It can fly, spit essence energy and immortal energy from its mouth, symbolizing light. It eats heavenly dew and spirit stones. It's a duck with all the spirits of heaven and earth. The system introduced the 7-colored sky mending duck to Bufong in a serious manner. 7-colored sky mending duck? What a domineering name. Bufong was a little surprised. Looking at the duck in his hand, he couldn't help but smack his lips. System, can the sky mending duck really mend the sky? Bufong asked. The system, are you an idiot or not? Realizing that the system didn't answer him, Bufong's mouth twitched. He was just joking. If it could mend the sky, then this duck would be in existence that could fly. How could it become his ingredient? He rubbed his chin. Bufong reached out his hand and patted the fat duck's belly. The duck croaked a few times, then spewed out more essence, energy, and immortal energy. Roast duck, that's a pretty good delicacy. Bufong was suddenly filled with anticipation. Heaven Chief Restaurant. Jin Jiao, Yin Jiao, and the others curiously sat on the chairs in the restaurant. They were facing the kitchen, but they couldn't see what was going on inside. This arrangement made them slightly curious. Of course, there were also restaurants in Hell. Hell was actually a complete big world, even bigger than Heaven Chief World. It was just like how Bufong had to go to Hell to look for ingredients. In Hell, there were many top-notch ingredients. Acheron grass and flower of helplessness were pretty good ingredients even in the Heaven Chief realm. At that time, Bufong had just taken a 1-leaf Acheron grass. If he had taken a 6-leaf Acheron grass, the great sage Acheron would have risked his life against Bufong. Even if the Lord Go had stopped him, the great sage Acheron would have chased him to the ends of the earth. Everybody in hell knew that. The great sage Acheron was so stingy. It looks small, but the atmosphere isn't bad. Luo Ji stretched her charming waist. Her hot body made Jin Jiao squint his eyes. The Grim Reaper scythe shrunk, turning into a pendant that she hung on her chest. The pendant dangled, clipping the white cleavage of her breasts, which was full of charm. Yuchi sat quietly on her seat, closing her eyes to contemplate. No one knew what she was thinking about. Nethery, on the other hand, obediently sat beside Yuji. Wherever Yuchi was, of course, Yin Jiao would be there. Supporting his chin with both hands, Yin Jiao stared at Yuchi, smiling foolishly. As soon as Realm Lord Dit stepped into the restaurant, he was dumbstruck. Realm Lord Dit thought that besides that mangy dog, nothing in this world could stir up waves in his heart. However, the moment he stepped into the restaurant, Realm Lord Dit found that his heart of cooking path was shaking hard. That was a kind of trembling without any reason. It was as if he could feel a wave of supreme power. However, how could a mere restaurant have supreme power? That black dog? Impossible. Unless that black dog had eaten the entire Heaven Chief Realm's heavenly path, perhaps it could be called supreme. However, that black dog had just taken a bite of the heavenly path. Even if it had completely digested it, Realm Lord Dit wasn't afraid. Where did this strange feeling come from? Realm Lord Dit took a deep breath, rubbing his soft, blonde hair. His eyes scanned the entire restaurant. It was small, but it wasn't stuffy. It was clean and tidy, but it wasn't dirty. The table was arranged neatly, and its position was unique. Although the sparrow was small, it had all the necessary organs. Realm Lord Dit was surprised, looking at the entire restaurant. Eventually, his mouth parted, revealing a satisfied smile. No wonder he had the guts to reject Dit's apprentice. Seems like he did have some ability. Walking to an empty seat, he pulled out a chair and sat down, sitting right next to Jin Jiao. Jin Jiao's body was as big as a small mountain. Sitting there, the space around him shrank a lot. Realm Lord Dit smiled as he sat down. Tilting his head, he glanced at Jin Jiao. Looking at his muscular body, his eyes brightened. Bosom friend. Everyone in the restaurant had a look of fright on their faces. Jin Jiao was even more dumbstruck, looking at Realm Lord Dit, who was sitting next to him. Realm Lord Dit reached out his hand, his face infatuated as he caressed Jin Jiao's naked upper body. Usually, Jin Jiao didn't wear black armor because his body was too big. It was hard for him to wear black armor. What are you doing? Jin Jiao looked at Realm Lord Dit, who was reaching out his hand to touch his body. His eyes widened, full of artistic aura. With one look, I can tell your kindred spirit. Those well-developed muscles, that sturdy body, you've truly brought the art of nudity to the peak. Realm Lord Dit said. While caressing, he squinted his eyes, intoxicated as he stuck his face on Jin Jiao's body. Motherf asterisk cur, Jin Jiao shivered. This guy, is he sick? Boom. Jin Jiao's body instantly emitted a huge aura. That aura shook, sending Realm Lord Dit's body flying. Realm Lord Dit's body tumbled in the air. He clutched his head and his lower body at the same time. A ripping sound rang out. The clothes on his body were instantly torn apart by an invisible force. His naked body was revealed. Everyone was speechless. Jin Jiao's hair stood on end. Let's experience the art of nudity together. Jin Jiao was bewildered. He found that Realm Lord Dit was sitting in front of him once again. Stay away from me. Jin Jiao's eyes were bloodshot as he roared. Suddenly, ring, ring. The bell on the restaurant's curtain rang, emitting a clear sound. Bufong walked out of the kitchen. Lifting the curtain, he held a 7-colored duck in his hand. Please be quiet in the restaurant, Bufong said calmly. As soon as Bufong's words fell swish, Jin Jiao felt a chill on his back. A big sword was pressed against his back. Quiet. Don't make a sound, or else my overbearing hefty sword will pierce through your heart. Yu Qi grabbed the overbearing hefty sword, pressing it against Jin Jiao's back. At this moment, Yu Qi was very serious because this little chef's cooking skill would determine whether or not he could suppress her sister's curse. If she was disturbed because of the noise, she would go berserk. Jin Jiao's forehead was beaded with cold sweat. He didn't dare to breathe loudly. Although his body was strong, Yu Qi's big sword was sharper. He knew that Yu Qi wasn't joking. She would poke several holes in his body. Thus, he could only endure the humiliation. Tears rolled in his eyes. The naked realm lord didn't mind Jin Jiao. His eyes were a little surprised as he gazed at the duck in Bu Feng's hand. 7-colored sky mending duck. Oh, little chef, you can actually find this kind of ingredient. Realm Lord Dit was so surprised. As the top Qilin chef in the Heaven Chief realm, he had seen many dishes and ingredients. When he was young, he had visited the entire Heaven Chief realm, the entire Earth prison, and even the Nether prison. He had been there before. Although this 7-colored sky mending duck wasn't a high-level ingredient, it came from the Nether prison. This point alone was enough to shock people. Gazing at Bu Feng, he thought, this little chef seems a little different from the others. Hurry up and cook. I suddenly want to see what kind of taste you, little chef, can cook the 7-colored sky mending duck. This duck isn't simple. Realm Lord Dit supported his chin, smiling at Bu Feng. If one didn't look at Realm Lord Dit's naked body, his words would sound a little mysterious. It was just that his naked body always made people unable to resist the urge to act. It was too dazzling. Bu Feng nodded. His eyes scanned the entire place. Then, he lifted the curtain on the kitchen door and stepped back into the kitchen. He was going to cook the roast duck. Outside the immortal city, the Tong family's head, Tong Wudi, looked gloomy. Next to him, the head of the Zhang family and the heads of the other aristocratic families also furrowed their brows. This time, they had suffered a great loss. The Heaven Chief's team was completely annihilated in a first-grade land of inheritance to any family. This was a huge loss. The Tong family and the Zhang family were better off. As the top aristocratic families in the immortal city, they had many Heaven Chiefs. Losing a few was not a big deal. However, to the other aristocratic families, one Heaven Chief's team was all they had. No, we can't just let it go like this. Why did our Heaven Chief's team get annihilated, while that mortal chef got a great opportunity? One of the aristocratic family's heads said angrily, his eyes red. The other patriarchs of the aristocratic families immediately echoed in agreement. Tong Wudi looked at this group of people, the corners of his mouth rising. He looked a little disdainful. He also wanted to kill that mortal chef, but that mortal chef had the support of that dog, so he didn't even dare to fart. That dog was too strong. Unless the realm lord of the Heaven Chief realm came to expel that dog, he wouldn't be able to deal with that mortal chef. Or he could unite with the other city lords to expel that dog. At that time, he would have a chance to deal with that mortal chef. This time, the Tong family had suffered a great loss. Moreover, Tong Chung was seriously injured, and the silver-armored guards were completely annihilated. Tong Wudi's hatred for Bu Feng had reached its peak. He hated that he couldn't kill that mortal chef with his own hands. However, he knew that as long as that dog was there, killing that mortal chef would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Tong family head. In a few days, many aristocratic families in the second layer of the Heaven Chief realm will bring their monstrous geniuses to our immortal city to discuss and prepare for the young generation's Heaven Chief competition in the Heaven Chief realm. At that time, we can unite with the experts of the other aristocratic families to deal with that old fellow Mu Yang. The Zhang family's head narrowed his eyes as he spoke to Tong Wudi. Then, he raised his hand and made a throat-slitting gesture. Tong Wudi's eyes brightened. The corners of his mouth rose. Yeah, I forgot that the Heaven Chief competition, which happens once every 4 years, is about to begin. We should take advantage of this competition to reshuffle the cards. Gongshu family. After Gongshu Baiguang listened to Gongshu Ban's description, his eyes were filled with disbelief. You F** king mean? That naked pervert is the immortal cooking realm's realm lord? Gongshu Ban forced a smile and nodded. It's hard to accept, right? Don't worry. Just get used to it. Gongshu Baiguang rejoiced and felt some lingering fear in his heart. Luckily, his son stopped him. If he followed that fellow Tong Wudi to cause trouble, the Realm Lord might bear a grudge against him. The Realm Lord of the Heaven Chief Realm was the supreme existence in the Heaven Chief Realm. Even if he was an exhibitionist, he couldn't hide the radiance of his body. Gongshu Baiguang made his decision immediately. The Realm Lord, His Excellency, is in that small restaurant. Let's go and greet him. Dad, the Realm Lord, His Excellency, doesn't want us to expose his identity. Just now, City Lord Mu recognized him, but he didn't expose his identity. So we have to be low-key this time. Gongshu Ban was very mature as he said solemnly, Son, do you think I should cater to the Realm Lord and take off my clothes? Gongshu Baiguang stroked his beard. Gongshu Ban was bewildered, his face frightened. No need, right? All right, I know what to do. You too, prepare to leave with me. Gongshu Ban looked at Gongshu Baiguang straight back. He had a bad premonition. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.